よーし。やっていこう。重ー。ああ、正常になったわ。トミーさん、僕が1位です。なわけ。で、出てないだろ、絶対に、それは。これか。俺、これ思ったけど、著作権とか大丈夫だよね。まあ大丈夫か。いやあ、かぐらさん。ネタバレ禁止でお願いします。
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Fortnite fans from around the world, wherever you are watching from, welcome to the FNCS Invitational 2022, coming at you live from Raleigh, North Carolina. The Raleigh Convention Center is being packed right now. We got fans up in the building. We got the players on site. And not too long
知らないよ。まあこれから見てんだから。
6 games today, 6 tomorrow, all culminating in an FNCS Invitational.
いや、そうなんよ。俺今ね、3連ビクルくらいしてさ、今1位なんよね。
You guys are as excited as we are. Let me introduce you to our good friends that are joining us here on the analyst desk. It's none other than pro player turned analyst, Vivid.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Zeke. The stage is set. We have international players joining us here today. There's a lot on the line, and it makes me so excited for every single one of the 12 games we're going to be watching.
And she's the best at everything. If you don't believe it, it's in her name. It's the best taco.
As much as I appreciate that, Zeke, the real best thing ever about today is the fact that the wait is finally over. We are finally here.
待って、さ、ニュースさ、それ事実ならさ、事実だろうが事実じゃなかろうがさ、ねえ、俺今固定コメントって見れてる？あなた。ネタバレガチ禁止でお願いしますってお願いしてるはずなんだけど。前ガチで思うんねえな、ほんま。ほんまにうぜえわ。タイムアウトでしとけ、マジ。
For the FNCS Invitational, and honestly, seeing how packed the venue already is, it's exhilarating.
That's right. The fans are ready. We are ready. But you know who else is ready? It's the players. Check this out. These are going to be some of the most exciting games you will see in all of Fortnite.
The last couple of years, I really missed in-person competitions.
これなんて言ってんのかわかんないんだよな、まず。
Get back into real-life competitions. We really hope to play in-person events for like the first time since World Cup.
Me and Dukes are so excited, you know what I'm saying?
It's my first time being at a tournament on land.
Lands are just like the
それで言うと誰が誰か俺分かってないっていう。
Especially in the past like 2 weeks. Yeah, we've been working hard.
しかもこれ小スタートってことは、いやそうなんよ。俺全部ビクル取っちゃってさ、もうみんながかわいそうでかわいそうで。 もう明日休んであげようかなって思っちゃって
It's
さ。
looking like it's gonna be messy.
There's going to be a lot of action going on.
Competing here today, but I'm super excited to see what happens with some of our international regions.
Show everyone, but guys, we know
明日も変わんないんじゃない
what
の？
you're
わ
here
か
for.
んない。
You're here for the games. You're here for the players. So in just 5 seconds, I'm going to need your help for the countdown, everyone. All right, join me. 10, 9,
はい。3、2、1。いや、ちょっとかわいそうだったな。1試合目30球ぶくり取っちゃってさ。俺が。おお。日本語でも欲しいよ。英語自動生成これ逆じゃね？かっけー。ああ。
Welcome to FNCS Invitational 2022 live here in Raleigh, North Carolina. We are here live to the world for this beautiful live audience.
あ、無理だね。
Is Adam Savage.
And I am Kelly Link. We will be your hosts over the next 2 days. And in those 2 days, you guys will witness 12 incredible games of Fortnite. 50 of the best duos around the world,
試合って言
representing
った。
7 regions, will not just be duking it out for the $1 million prize pool. They won't just be fighting for the pride and prestige. They're going to be fighting for that trophy right there.
4時半まで耐えたけど見る前に寝てしまった。あ、うわーもったいない。
I'm getting goosebumps here, Kelly. We've set the scene here for you guys. We've had a chance to talk to the broadcast team. We've seen you guys in the audience looking amazing. But now, are you ready to meet the stars of this show? It's time to meet the players!
おー TSM リートとエピックホイールだ。リートの顔ってあんなんなんだ。ちょっと意外。エピックホイールは知ってたけど。ライする見たならガチであれネタバレだけはやめて。おースナッキーともう一人わかんない。あ、なんならさっきネタバレしたバカが一人いてさ、そいつはタイムアウトさせといたから。あ、6試合。あ、まあそんくらいないいよ。なんか誰が勝ったのか、そういうマジでおもんないことはほんまやめてほしい。6試合か。で、計12試合ってことか。そうなんよ、俺ちょっと6試合全部ビケルしちゃってさ、ちょっとみんながかわいそうすぎて。じゃあ明日休んであげようかなって思って。 あれなんかだんだんキル数が増えてね。
including the latest third-party event. Now they are here in Raleigh to do it again.
おお、これが神セッティチームか。あ、腕にあれつけてるじゃん。なんか汗だっけ、なんか止めるやつ、なんか滑りのねみたいな、なんだっけ、滑りやすくするやつだっけ。あ、汗。
Let's hear it for Aqua and Reason, a duo World Cup teaming up with an iconic and highly competitive German juggernaut. This can only go well.
もうこれ2日目どう頑張っても勝てなくないか。勝てんのか。ポイント制度も知らないからさ、マジで何も知らずにこれやってるからね。
With just 10 players coming out, the Raleigh Convention Center are absolutely losing their minds. I hope you guys have enough in the tank until we got another 40 duos, so please don't pass out. That was just the first 10. What are thoughts?
We're stacked. We are stacked. I haven't even seen the rest of the. We're stacked. We're stacked, right? Snacky and Fabs being one of those dominant duos being showcased right there in one of our first 10 to present. Listen, they're on a hot streak right now. Coming out of the NA West region, back-to-back FNCS wins in season 1 of the chapter, followed by a third place as well.
But you can't forget about Pink and Anas either. This European powerhouse, I think, is going to be absolutely one to keep an eye out for. And I'm really excited to see
いやね、これ字幕つけようと思ったけど、これ英語しかできなかった。
Clicks and Dukes.
And of course, he's got the pink hair too, so he's easy to recognize.
Easy to recognize.
あ、なんか多分これラブだ。
FNCS wins in season 1 and season 2 of this chapter, followed by a third place as well.
Now they must be absolutely ready for the big stage. Give it up for Pablo Wingu and Swag. Now this is what you get when you mix raw talent with maturity and experience. This is a flaming hot duo.
OK。うん、わかった。俺もコメント見ないようにすればいいわ。うん。
Gentlemen, how are you doing out there? I'm joined right now by Clicks and Dude, make some noise!
All right, Clicks, my friends, out here in front of a live audience, you've experienced World Cup before. How great is you back here in front of all these amazing people?
You know, after 2 years, it's finally a pleasure to, be at another LAN event, seeing the crowd, different atmosphere, so hopefully we do good.
Absolutely, and Duke as
なん
well.
て言ってんのかわかんねえわ。
30 duos.
30 duos だからあと20か。
This is gonna be some of the presented on some more. Put your hands together for Peter Bot and Jamper. The individual skill is so high in this duo, and despite being new at the duo, they're boasting FNCS and Cash Cup title wins. Make some noise for Pantsu and Fats, the French-Canadian duo with a tight bond. Back from Grand Royale and the most recent NA East FNCS as third, they are here to take it all. KBR and folks, the regional FNCS champions of Brazil Chapter 3 Season 2, and now they are here and ready to compete on the international stage. Let's give a warm welcome to Bevy and Vortexer, the duo fresh out of the lobby. With only one FNCS together as teammates, they're now ready to give it their all here in Raleigh.
めっちゃくすれる人いたやん。
The most recent FNCS champions of Chapter 3 Season 3 as well. They are here and now ready for the FNCS Invitational. Give it up for Scram and Chimp, combining the powers of EU and NA East. These guys have great potential in front of them. They could go all the way.
おお、ザコミニムだ。
A huge welcome to Ju and Yusri. Great potential in this duo here, and fairly recently teaming up together. Their journey begins now, and what a journey it's gonna be.
This is Z, Andy, and Joe FN, everybody. Several FNCS final performances, and most recently 4th in EU's FNCS. Now, they are ready to take home the big prize.
なんな俺この世界大会のためにあれ見てないからね。ディスコードもツイッターも。もし終わって帰ってくるまで全部見てねえもん。あ、40か。よかった。俺もうなんかもうルナペボあたり飛ばしたかと思ったわ。俺もう飛ばしたもしかして。長い、あなたの話。ちょっと俺、あなたの話いいわ。選手登場のところちょっと、あ。
Stage. These guys are the biggest threat to the lobby.
Please welcome Focus and Spy with progression throughout each and every FNCS with a 3rd place finish in the most recent Middle Eastern FNCS. These guys are ready to compete.
It is Thomas HD and Tripper and folks. 2 words, dangerous and dominating. As these two are extremely experienced, and they must be ready to win this weekend here in North Carolina.
A huge welcome to Macwood and Kanata. Reunited has never felt so good. These guys are looking to pick up where they left off and take home the prize.
Let's hear it for Acorn and Edgy. Consistently great performances throughout their careers. They are here to continue that trend. NA East, show them some love.
あ、俺飛ばしたな。まだ終わってない？絶対飛ばしただろう。
Let's give a big welcome to Commandment and Avery, your Chapter 3, Season 3, NA East FNCS winners with one of the closest endgames we have ever seen in a finals. It's time!
A duo that needs no introduction. Tayson and Chapix combined 6 FNCS titles, countless Cash Cup wins, and now they're ready to take on the global competition.
Let's give it up for Maz and Looter, multi-regional FNCS winners, previous champions of OCE's FNCS as well. Listen, these guys have got it all.
Yep.
And finally, let's hear it for Booba and Miro, our solo World Cup champions.
2人ともイケメンだな。憎たらしい。
These guys are looking to cement their legacy.
あ、俺完璧に飛ばしましたね。
Freaking go! Look at this insane roster of duos that will be competing on the FNCS Invitational stage.
I'm gonna pass out. Vincent, I'm gonna pass out.
1時間くらいずっとトークなんで。俺ルナペポ完璧に飛ばしたわ。なんならアリスの方も飛ばしたわ。ちゃんと見るとな、ザゴを右目だけだった。
You never know where that to lights or the noise.
Actually got the already going absolutely ham. The Clicks fans rise up. What can we expect from this duo?
Listen, I'm excited, right? Because Clicks has been improving from season to season, day to day as an IGL, teaming up with Duke, of course, who is very, very good mechanically. You know, I saw him in the practice room, always grinding the creative, always willing to take on pretty much anybody in that room who wanted to give a shot at seeing if they could take him down.
And it's impressive how well Clix has managed to simultaneously totter between this pro player aspect as well as the heavy side of content creation.
Yeah.
I think that it is not very easy to maintain both of those lifestyles. And not only that, but when you have somebody as experienced as Duke right next to you, I can understand where the trust comes from this duo. And knowing that they're against Pinkett and Nas potentially at Fort Jonesy, I do believe we heard them mentioning, though, a possibility of just splitting at the start.
Well, listen, I love the fact that you mentioned content, right? Because, listen, you know, he's used to that, right? He wants the reactions. He posts that content to get reactions. And here, what other better place to get reactions than from a live crowd? So maybe he'll just straight up embrace it, and it'll fuel him.
That's right. I have to highlight this duo, man. Your FNCS Asia champions who are competing on this stage. There they are, Zagu and Meram. Remember, these are FNCS champions. They literally just won the FNCS that passed. And now we will see them compete.
なんかミリムめっちゃ可愛いな。
I'm pretty worried for everybody else.
Listen, we were just talking about, you know, Vadil and Janice, who coming into this event are a lot of people's favorites, right? But right there, they had 310 points in one of those Elite Cups. Right there, I saw them have 344. There's a little bit of competition going on there. And as you can see from the camera shot, I love it. The preparation, they literally have printed out sheets of spots on the map, things that can help them out through this competition, anything to give them the edge.
And from the moment that we saw just how much energy they were actually bringing with them on their initial walkout, to the point of them sitting down here now, their faces do not indicate any sort of nerve.
試合を始めよう。
Look for those early engagements if they don't want to, and you also have to keep in mind that they're not the only ones that are going to be landing there. There's also going to be Thomas HD and Tripper. That is a notorious favorite spot for them to go, is that south side of the raid cave. So curious to see where exactly these zones wind up actually taking these players and how their encounters might actually shape.
あ、ウィケシはいないよ。
Right, there is a duo here that is quite terrifying. You know, out of Brazil, not a big deal. The fans of them are up here in the audience. It's King and Ed. I mean,
そろそろ試合始めてください。ちょっと長すぎる。
He has been steadily improving with each of his performances throughout the entirety of.
え、もう始まった？もしかして。
He has been steadily improving with each of his performances throughout the entirety of Chapter 3. So, if the momentum kind of keeps going in that direction, again, these guys.
We want to come icon. That's pretty right.
On the, you know, from Tilted Towers, I can tell you right now, you know, watch some of the Elite Cup games. They do not like to leave Tilted Towers without at least landing at Tilted Towers.
And we've all because two with that scoring point.
Just ridiculous. You know what this feels like to be on a stage like this, to be in front of a crowd like
locked in, right? They're looking like focused. They're not good for some of them. A different atmosphere. We talked about it. You know, maybe the two crowd, not because
setup and in person or talking with some of the players even yesterday and in the player lounge. It's asking. Because it's just that it adds that extra little safety net of just.
I know it sounds like it's better. It's proven. Why don't we go hang out with we got with Tokata, Mini Minor? You guys in the player area?
We are indeed, Zeke. Now some of these players might have their shoes on. We've got our thinking hats on about down.
話がすごく長い。
Joe and Ziandi, which are no longer contested because now Baka and
kind of want to
trophy, baby.
I've never seen that out of an individual player ever.
There's a reason why he's often regarded as one of the best fraggers in Fortnite.
でもさ、通話しようと思ったんだけどさ、俺のサーバーでなんかめっちゃ話してね。俺のサーバーでめっちゃ話してるから、俺いけないんよ。
Let's go, Jacob! It is
お、
time.
来た。
Game number 1 of the FNCS Invitational starts right now. 27 different countries are represented. 88 different champions. Overall, this is just amazing. And just look at the concentration on the players' faces as they start to populate onto this world. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine the pressure as you are jumping off the battle bus here. We already know what's in store for us. It's going to be an incredible amount of action as we know there are so many contested drop spots. Yeah, and already looking at the drop path,
One of the biggest ones is going to be over towards
お、ミリムザを名前が右下に。
recent NA East FNCS champions. They're a little contested. Not going to be a hot fight right out of the gates against Thomas HD and Tripperin because right now they're just getting that early game done and ready.
That's right, and it is going to be so important for everyone who is contested to take and walk in the path of caution. You cannot allow yourself to make any risk.
明日見れないのか。俺も見れないからさ、どの道学校で。まあ、夜にまたこの配信やろうかなって。
Which are the most notable? Bad Sniper, Noah Riley, Acorn, Edgy, Babs, and Snacky just to the south.
That's such a stacked stage. You might as well call that the Legends Land. Let me tell you, but see Snacky over on the side. You're talking about Bad Sniper as well. But one of our hottest drops with EU's biggest games, Cloudy, Kondo, Feet haven't even touched the ground yet. But it does look like it's going to be Malibuka and Merstash.
マリブカもいるやん。3チームだったな、そういえばそこ。おー、強い、青ポン。ポンプではないな。
One of the most respected set of duos right here. If they really cut loose, they make endgame, it's over. You're gonna see Aqua playing for that big high ground play. And look at how they are respecting the area.
アイリスなんか海外の人出てるのは知ってるんだけど。
Foundation right before they really decide to make a fight.
Yeah, but look at Malibuka's loot already. A green prime, a blue Evo Chrome burst. He's ready to pack a punch at a moment's notice. He's probably waiting for Merstash to probably give him the go-ahead. But another inter-regional battle over towards Grim Gables.
Now what's crazy about this, I got to sit down with Muzz and Looter. They are feeling exceptionally
ここ2チームいるのによく漁れるな。
You have to put yourself into this kind of position right now. There's pressure all around you. To me,
お、強いね、武器。
have the advantage right now. Just take a look at the focus right here, right? This little bit of high ground, they have them almost trapped down below.
Yeah, and the thing is, right now, Larson is a
そう
little
そう、
bit
パワーラン2の人だったな。
that is a little bit towards low ground.
なんかアリスに行ってるらしいから、そうアリス映らないかなと思ってる。
Kind of do one of these teams in as Brian and Vico over here towards Reality Tree, another contested drop. But you can see this is only game number 1.
お、もう早速。ワンダウン。おー。
Down goes Larson, and the quick finish for Looter. OCE gets to claim the first on the show today. It's Smite now, left with the pressure of the world on his shoulders. Can he escape these OCE players?
全然知らない人だからさ。
From the past experience that Looter and Muzz are some of the fastest.
対面早っ。
Down to these engagements, and they're hip to hip right now.
Yeah, Smite right now, he has to figure out a way to just really stay alive, and it looks like Muzz and Looter, they're trying to decide right now, Monster, do you continue to try to fight against Smite as he's looking to try to get that reboot card onto Larson as the third-party shots are beginning to come in from the distance, and that's the thing, you know as well as I do, any drop that's contested, and you have that early game fight, and especially it builds just like this, there are so many teams that are going to look at you to get their surge.
Now in the past, Smite has been known to walk away with at least one elim in every single major game. This time,
さあそこから行けるのはそこだ。そこしかないぞ。
Take a look at the respect here to play cautious, take their time and not overcommit even.
さてマリブカーがめっちゃローにされてる。お、チャピックス。お、ワンパーティー潰れたね。さあメルサチ、さあアクアが東大から天口じゃなかった、フルオートだった。お、テイソンチャピックスは引いたね。でメルサチマリブカがまだそこにいる感じか。いや、うますぎ。
Crazy how they fight back. They are not just allowing this team to third party them. Reason gets super hurt there, and it looks like the battles in the distance get to conclude. But here and now,
お、まさかここ攻めてく？
all of a sudden have such an advantageous position, right? And lands all those shots. The entire team have turned.
いや、エイムいいね。そう、スナイパーは競技ないからね。いい調整だと思う。
That's right, and now
For Jace in Basil, another team that was contested in the early kind of situation, but it seems like they've won themselves some space. They're vibing out with the surge tags here as they start to fight back the teams.
サージ用にだいぶ稼いではいる。
What a great spot to be, especially with the zone housed right on top of them. They have so much going for them now that they don't have to worry about that. Whoa, a big fight though. On one gets back. That's the replay there. I love that we got to.
おブーガ
You could see the strategy coming out from On1 and Bach. They switched up their drop spots this weekend. It's not like they've been practicing there all
みたいな寝落ちしちゃ
season
ったの
long.
か。
They're just adapting on the fly. As you see Booga, Mara, we already talked about that uncontested drop spot of Chonkers Speedway. The zone is kind of above them, and they're one of those teams that just waste no time
もう
trying
一回
to
止めるわ。どうする？お前にさ、一回、あれ渡しとくわ。モデレーターの権限渡しとくから、なんか、もし、あれ、ネタバレみたいなコメントあったら消しといて。
what that game plan is. They're going to try to get to zone and then worry about surge when all those other teams that are south and east of them have to go past them.
And the Middle Eastern, one of the few representatives of the Middle East community here, and Alex, what a monumental task to step up here and for the first time ever compete with a duo. So we love to see
ブーがイケメンなのな、もう顔を引き裂きたい。
You know what I saw, which was as well. Japan versus Brazil. Looks like Peppo found one too. So little exchanges.
いや、すごっ。
Now we jump over to Vino. Vino and Queasy. Some of the best.
クイズでちょっとCL割りかけてんな。
This is going to be one of the wildest lobbies we've ever seen. If you're down on surge at any point in the game, you're going to play catch up to all these elite teams who know exactly how to handle their own surge if they are above. But one of the big teams, one of the
あ、そう、タイムアウトでいいよ。あ、なんか、見たこともないような、なんかサブアカだったらもうバンしていい、バンしていい。顔を引き裂いてやりたい。しかもブーガスキーの人いるやん。あ、それでいい、それでいい。ブロックでいいよ。
Down at the Joneses, it seems like things might have slowed down for them. They've been a bit more passive. There's a single Elim though, right inside there too, so that's a pickup.
Yeah, and for a lot of these teams,
デイリーがデイリーだっけ？
the nerves right now, they're just feeling each other out, trying to figure out how everybody's
ルナペポが降りてるところ。
as soon as this one gets at least toward the mid.
でもまだ2パーティーしか落ちてないからな。
It's gonna get super exciting very, very quick. As Mustache, Malibuka, that fight done and over with. They know it's about the resource, about matting up and setting yourself up for later on.
And I love that you say that because
ブーガスキーにいるのちょっとおもろいな。
tons of accessibility to the metal. You see how their metal resources really starting to cap out there. Tayson and Chapix, though, they're going to give up the drop. They say, hey, enough is enough. We've, kind of gotten our hands dirty. Let's go on and move out. And you notice that they also managed to take home the metal as well. Everything else, man, you can find it on your way out, right? It's the toughest resource to rebuild back is that metal when you are at the drop spot. So
多分プレッシェとか今こういう感染の状態な感じなんだろうね。ストームとか。お、アルバザゴーミニもいるやん。
Greasy Grove, whatever Janice and Vidil left behind. And there's actually a lot of the teams that landed Rave Cave a little bit north that are trying to rotate towards this slower side of zone. And right now, everybody are just stuck in zone because nobody wants to bite off more than they can chew.
This is our current reigning champions of the Japanese
ミリムザゴーたち100までしないかったね。
Now we jump over to Ed and King. One of the most explosive duos. We talked about Ed's history, how much he's really risen to the challenge, improving season after season. Now paired up with King, they have such a fun history here.
ね、ミリムさ、そうなんだよね。普通30逆の方なんだよね。
Now they get to play together. Yeah, kind of rotating all the way from north. Chrome Jam Junction, they find themselves a sweet spot, but a team that has so much experience together, but years ago, now reuniting for the Invitational, Macwood and Kanata, and let me tell you, in some of those practice games, Monster, that uncontested drop spot that Kanata and Macwood have proven to be fruitful. They got first place in scrims, and now they're here to try to replicate that on the biggest stage.
Only two duos have fallen, and now another steps into the position here to possibly take a fight, but no. Bevies and Vortex are know a little bit better. They're going to land right behind Chapix. They find Tayson out by himself. A great shot here, and now he steps up. but smarter to go ahead and defensively poise up here. No need to get too in.
Yeah, not just yet at least. You can't really get too busy too
いや、
early.
安
There's
心。
so many players that
そ
right
れ
now
マリブカは出てんだよ
95
ね。
left alive. When Storm Surge actually activates Monster, this is probably going to be one of the most scariest things I've seen in Fortnite in quite a while.
That is true, and Bevies and Vortexes are really considering peeking out. Now, one thing we spoke about with the professional players is that one thing you don't do is open those big boxes and peek for too long. If there's ever a time to do it, you can do it here in the early game kind of situation while you have some time. But while we have some time, let's just go ahead and catch up with Minimine.
Not quite
お、
there.
クイジ
Close enough. I got you, Monster.
で
We're
の
gonna
チー
be
ム
taking
だ
a
ね。
look at North Shiny Silence, where we have a fan favorite duo, Queasy and Vino.
あ、やっぱり
I found it interesting how they were playing split up here. Queasy was on the
レンジャー
low
ショットガン
ground,
使ってる人いるんだ
taking
ね。
shots from opposing duos, but Vino up above
これリプレイやない
on
かい、
the
さらに。
balloon was able to get free tags on the opposing duos that were looking at Queasy and having this split.
まあまあ俺はこれから全部ビクルするから。
is crucial for getting those free tags and able to set yourself up for that late game.
Mention it. Did you see?
お、サージ出てるね。お、ミリムザゴいるやん。
Ready for that end game. If you have that much heals, that's going to allow you, if you are down on Surge, to kind of handle it. Fabs and Stacky, FNCS champions from NA West, hurting on Storm Surge right now, trying to get themselves back up. But it does look like the fight, maybe the dust have settled, and this is the aftermath. As you see, yeah, Fabs does have one elimination, 36 above the damage threshold. Even though right now they have a little bit of comfortability, that threat is still looming in the back of their minds.
That's right, and they rolled up, they took down a team there, and now they get to go ahead and reap the rewards. They needed those tags, but that's not going to be enough. There's a little bit more in front of them. A team that's well below the Surge right now are full Middle Eastern duo, Spy and Focus. Are sitting here, and it's not looking too hot. 220 damage below.
このチーム200ダメージ与えんダメなのか。
An incredible, and I mean incredible player, but this is
お、エピックホエールと
decisions that you have to make now.
リート。
There's no easy one. Now we have EU versus NA West. Noah Riley, bad sniper, Epic Will, and Reed on the other side of the wall.
This one is going to get close because Reed, I already talked about, he loves to fight. Epic Will loves to fight as well. But Epic Will is also that IGL, that 6-time champion. He knows when and where to pick his battles in every single one of these situations. So he's probably talking to him right now, get the pre-edit ready, but he's 137 below. This is why they're not abandoning the fight. They have damage to do.
Epic Will and Reed have around a 70+% win ratio when taking on these early game fights in these early zones. It's looking very good for them. But the Surge, no one can beat the Surge. That is going to be inevitable damage.
別パーティーからの攻撃
So this is
す
why
ら
it's so important. Down comes the Chug Heal. They're just going to go ahead and sit there, try to get as much health as possible. Meanwhile, in the distance, Threats and Alice are starting to put shots in. So this is not a fight that's not, being interfered with. Reed's going to fall first.
お、リートが落ちた。
Shots come in. Noah Riley wastes no time. They pounce in, and they're hunting now. Reed's on the run. Shots from the side. Who will steal away this elimination here? Someone has to get it in there. It is they close things up.
おー、ここでリート。聞こえるが落ちた。
Oh my god, but the action is just all over. Basil, Jace, they're out as well. That's Pink and Anas who pick up 2 more. And I even saw moments ago that Booga went down. The elimination feed is just lighting up. Pars and Rays go down as well. This one is getting active very fast, but that's because of the Storm Surge. But this is something I feel like all of us preface.
やべ、すっげえマップみたい。
That Storm Surge is going to be so important throughout these 12 games.
Kanata and Macwood take down Booga and Miro in the feed. It is done. It is wraps. Meanwhile,
それ当たんないだろ。
champions are finding some too. But KBR and Z, representing for Brazil, are here, and they need more tags. They're just 8 above. Well played for them to go ahead and find a few to keep them in the game. But let's get on
お、
over
チャピッ
to
クス
that
た
fight
ち。
that is inevitably
わ、チャピックスたち。あ、テイソン、チャピックス。ダメージ足りてないのか。 おっと、これで以上になった。あ、テイソンが。
From teammates to enemies, Janice takes down Tayson in the zone just like that. It is over. Now we jump on over to On1 and
お、アルバ、お、ザゴーキルしてるじゃん。
NA West. One of the few
スナッキーやってる、スナッキーやってる。
Talk to me about how they managed to surge over Mr. Savage and eye drop, and now they're picking it up.
これルナペポもういないもしかして。
Before this, as they were preparing, and when they finally made that decision to switch up their drop
いない
spot,
説
they
ない
had
か。
a choice. Do you contest Hen and Vortex? Do you contest Go and Z Andy? They said no. They want to take one of the biggest names in Europe. They want to go against Mr. Savage and eye drop, and already it's proving to be fruitful on one coming from Mexico. This guy is a legend
結
from
構チーム減ってきた
And
ね。
honestly, it's been just a few seasons and he's already making a name for himself.
That's right, and way to do it on the international stage now when it matters. Now we jump on over to Chicho and Trulix here. What a great spot to be in, my God. Beautiful tags here, holding the team out on the side. Meanwhile, Vadil and Janice look like they have finally made it from outside the storm line. Tough spot to be in. You have a lot of water here, very little land terrain.
いやあるな、
And take
全
a
然。
look in the distance there. You see the stacking starting to happen. Meanwhile, on the other side, some of the
でもね、1チーム目じゃなかっ
Now, what's cool about this duo here is that Edgy and Acorn
た
quite
ね。
literally said, hey, the better the lobby skill-wise, the better I will perform. That is how much experience he's picked up in the past from practicing against the best of the best lobby.
And already, if you look at their loot right
いや
now,
き
that
つ。
5-team contestation coming out of Tilted Towers. Honestly, didn't do too much. 256 above the damage threshold as well. Shots continue to fire off onto Jew. He goes down. Elimination's gonna be cleaned up to Acorn. They get
いやー、これは仕方がない。
teammate U3 goes down as well. That's gonna be Vadil. No Riley picking up some more eliminations as well.
What a quick way to finish that one off. And there's a problem here. We have Bakken on one sitting on the walls. If NA East champions are most recent of Avery and Command, you can see they've actually taken a lot of damage here. They were just below the surge quite a bit ago, and yes, more damage is starting to come in. It's only a matter of time now for them. They will have to take a fight. That's no easy fight on the other side of the wall, but first tags there are going to go to the side of the NA East boys.
Yeah, Amon and Baka right now, they just need to play their game. They are down on Storm Surge in terms of commandment and Avery, 65 above. Those traded shots actually.
いやー、きついなー、物資。武器は強いんだけど。
Storm Surge would have had these guys almost down and out, and they could easily clean those up. But right now, they're just playing safe. They just want to go ahead and make it towards their end game, because this is one of the teams. They finished second in the last FNCS of NA West. They know how to fight with the best of them.
This is what it's all about. We show up for big moments like this. Can you step up to the plate? We are just moments away from the game becoming extremely difficult. The zone is only getting tighter and tighter. And take a look at how many players have huge pressure, rapid and endless now. And they have Clicks and Duke sitting above them. Macwood and Kanata starting to look down as well. They're off to a hot start. That is one of the teams to look out for. Meanwhile, a single Elam already for Clicks on the other side. So they've survived the drop.
Oh, still down.
Finds a one. They're on to Andalex in the finish. Two. Clicks and Duke managed to get two more eliminations.
Oh.
Hey, you gotta give him credit though. He said it himself. He has that World Cup experience teamed with an FNCS champion in
あ、アリスたち生きてんじゃん。
in-person event, and he's already loving the environment. Even though he didn't take that off-spawn fight, it was so that he can make it toward this end game and continue to do things like that.
待って、アリスの顔結構意外だったんだけど。
They're communicating with the translator between them. NA East and Japan playing with each other, but hold up. Vadil, Janice, this is a problem. One of our favorites. When you look online, you look at Twitter, you look at what everyone is putting together for a top 10 list. You expect this team to do so well in game one and already broken apart.
Yeah, Janice was down inside of the storm.
いやなんかね、アリスさ、なんか見た目がなんて言ったら韓国人言ったらいいかな。韓国人っぽい。
They got some tags and left. 31 below. The pressure is on. They're so close to zone, but they can't necessarily travel to zone because they have to worry about Storm Surge. That's actually doing a ton of damage.
31 below. Not looking good, Jacob. Tags are coming in. Clock is ticking. They do have heals. They can survive for a little bit more, but you hear the shots raging everywhere as the lobby turns online. But Dio fires back. He catches Macwood in the feed. That must have been incredible, and that's happening right above us. Meanwhile, turning the story around, Vadil is known as one of the
俺
greatest.
ペポはあんま知らないんだよね。
Literally made his name known for taking on fights and just
ルナは確かツイッターでしたけど、ペポはさ、マスク状態で出てたのを見たから。
Catching Macwood off guard, and honestly, it looked like Macwood was going to try to do the same to him, peeking through that cone. You better watch where you peek. Aseti and Cammy, another favorite to probably take the top spot here in this event. 306 above the damage threshold. They're still continuing to put that pressure on the lobby. That's exactly what you got to do.
そうペポはね、そうブロッコリーの髪型のやつ。ルナペポ見た感じいないな。見た感じいなくない？やっぱ。
Let's jump on over to Zeke. KBR. How's it going here? 132. They have Z, Andy, and Joe have been on the other side of the wall. It's going to be a tough one. 23 duos remaining here. The surge is still active. And now as the timer hits 0 and the zone reveals itself, we're going to start entering into the first moving zone territory. These next 25 seconds are going to be some of the toughest they have ever had to deal with. Remember, for some on this stage, this is their first LAN, an in-person event that they have ever experienced here, and they get to play it out now.
And this is where you talk about some of the players that had rotation. It is going to be so important. You see where the zone pulls. There's different elevations that these players are going to have to traverse through. If you don't have any sort of rotation, you're going to have to figure out how to recycle it. Otherwise, you're going to be living a nightmare.
Fadil, he has a launch pad. He's going to play for it. High ground.
いや、ミリムザゴいる。さあ、クイジーたちがハイガル取ってます。さあメルスたちが一人で残り HP くそなんか生きてる。あ、いた？マジ？気づかなかった俺。あ、いる。あ、ハイグラにいるよ。おい、ハイグラの奪い合いじゃないかい。マジでハイグラの奪い合いやん。
in the first game of the FNCS Invitation.
Yep, and there goes the saw to the feed. Vadil and Janice, their run came to an end. Vico picking up a Nas and Mustache. Two different players trying to break through. 118 below the damage threshold. He knows he cannot stay in one place too long. Trying to reunite with Threats, but he goes down as well. Storm Surge really eating these guys alive. Alice has to do something, but the options are so thin. He doesn't know what to do. Finally finding one player. Still going wild. He's below, but that Siphon coming through just in the nick of time to keep him alive.
He is alive. He takes down the run, steps into the zone, and look at this. A huge pickup now. That's going to buy him more time. That could be the absolute difference. Meanwhile, Seti and Cammy playing their game. Pam's doing fast.
Luna Pepo どこ行った？
High ground has Queasy and Vino. Logren has Chicho and Trulix playing and leading the front side of zone.
さすがアイリスだな。
Clicks is still alive now, working his way through. He has lost his teammate. The full finish comes through. It might be all or nothing now. He still has so much left in the tank.
Yeah, but I'm not too worried about him because
選手たちの視線が早すぎてさ、もう全然。あー、ペポが。じゃあルーナだった。ルーナペポ落ちたか。いや12か多分。
Continuing to drop, shots still coming in. He's going to find a moment of an oasis to try to stabilize and figure out what to play.
神セッティチームがハイグラ取ってる。え、それ行く？なんかこの中シーンどっかで見たなんかどっかのリプレイで見たことあるぞ。いや残り4。おー。お、ミリメ。ローグラセンター取ってる。いいぞ。さあミリメザゴがいやいいな。この位置めっちゃいい。
Sitting in the zone, Vino doing the same, but he's almost all out of opportunity.
This is absolutely what you expect of the best players.
ミリム顔可愛いんだよね。すごく。あ、ミリムザゴたちはまだ生きてる。いいよ。
Vino by himself, just working his way, ratting his way through the build. Acorn is as well. There's a set of major points separating them. Vino looks to high ground. He says, "I'm not going to allow you to just sit there and focus me." True Alex is meanwhile in the low, looking for something to do here, turning builds into Chrome. Remember, he can slip through any one of these now, becoming desperate.
He's just trying to reinforce a little bit of the build.
ザゴーは眠そう
through and try to pick that shot
で
from
も
Merriman.
でも全然こっち側ヘイト買ってないよ
But he have that mid layer trying to find that comfortability. But you know, only 2 HP, no men miss left.
2HP はえぐいいやこれはしゃあない
Acorn finds another one from the outside of zone.
7 elims for Mareem and Zagu, representing for Asia here, looking great. Meanwhile, Yumi and Cool are getting one step closer now to taking this fight. A huge shot
誰に入っ
from
た
Mareem. He's gonna feel that one.
やばいよ
He plays defensively, but Zagu is here to back him up. They're going hand in hand. The fight breaks out.
いや返したいや
Cool steps up to the plate.
ー惜しい
To 3 duos in the end game, 2 solos and a duo up top.
Carrying that momentum from last season's FNC.
でもザゴーミリムチーム7キルしてる
Seti and Cammy, the only duo left in the game is Acorn staying alive. Still 4 eliminations on the back of Cool, trying to find his way through. But there's, like I said, there's only one duo team, and they have the high ground and the recipe for success.
You cannot write a better story for becoming legends. Seti is fighting back. Cammy is fighting back. They're looking to get inside. There goes the Elam they were looking for.
あ倒した
Player separates them, but Acorn will not survive. And Seti and Cammy take game number 1.
Poland is the first country to take home a victory royale.
アレクさんこんにちはいやザゴー強えザゴーミリムチームいきなりやん
What a fairy tale beginning for these absolute veterans, goats, some of the hardest workers we have ever seen enter into the ecosystem, becoming legends. Seti and Cammy must be absolutely proud. Acorn and Edgy.
あじゃあぜしっかり終盤来てたねちゃん
Wait
と
for Acorn to truly step up to the table there and clutch this one out. And he said it, put me in the best lobbies, I will put up the numbers.
Yeah, and for him, that's a little bit of a success, even though he didn't get the victory royale. Staying alive as long as he did, getting extra eliminations, and getting that top placement, that is just insane. But let's go ahead and throw it over to an interview with the winners.
Okay, you guys? I am with our game 1 winners. Give it up for Cammy and Seti!
いや神セッティかいきなりのビッグロイ
Dzień dobry, first and foremost. Dzień dobry. Obviously, game 1 winners. How was that being out there and winning in front of this amazing crowd?
It's amazing. I love the atmosphere here. It's really nice having a crowd again.
Excellent. And also, obviously, high ground reigns supreme. Once you had the high ground there, able to maintain, do you think that was the difference maker? You felt comfortable being above the rest of the teams?
Like, we knew that high team doesn't have much, so we just took it.
You took it. Going into the next game, much of the same? Do you have to
あ
constantly
というわけで
change
飛ばしま
strategy
す
or
Those things out, and I think ultimately
You're like, all right, fine, we'll give it up. And then like 5 seconds later, I look back up and
Biggest thing I think on a lot of these players' mind, as you
in this box, and On1 cleans it up after placing that wall to make sure Savage can't.
also just made do with what they were. Absolutely love to just see that energy kind of be reflected in their gameplay.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you mentioned energy. I've been saying
Ah,
about
June.
the player lounge, everything like
見
that.
てなかった
Walkouts, they always seem so happy, right? They're so happy to be here, and they seem confident as well. There's never really like a one.
There's some of this from
more care about high. Do you guys think that
順位これの前
gotta
あ
go
お
for it?
お
Look to just say like, look, our kind of strategy to win is that high ground. We got.
いやでもミリムザゴー1級3位やん
A lot of teams that actually like to play the high ground.
いや強くねルナペポ10位にいるしちゃんと
Jason and Chabix also went down. Another one, Alex and Bailey. We talked about them from OCE. They love to play the high ground, and they just all 3 of them went down a little bit early, so it could change big time.
まあレースたちは賞味今日初めてみたいな感じだからなまあ仕方がないと思う
But being left as a solo, he couldn't really do that this game.
But just look at some of these names that are located on the second page already for the leaderboard. You got Thomas HD, a Tripper, Pink, and a Nas. Again, I think Vika and Benign have been really exciting to kind of follow along with, especially since they're relatively newly formed here for the FNCS Invitational. I don't think that is an easy feat by any means to have to quickly adapt to your partner.
100%. And listen, I can't believe it, actually, because Clicks and Duke were actually popping off towards that end game, right? And, you know, the crowd was going crazy. We on the desk were like, wow, they're really showing up right now. And, you know, on that leaderboard, it's really showing as well, finding those eliminations on big-name teams as well. They're coming into the Invitational with the experience, and it's showing.
How many of these duos are thinking to themselves, game 2, I'm ready. I have that strategy locked in. I think I know what I need to do to get going because I want to make the crowd here in the Raleigh Convention Center just lose their mind when we're taking shots. Because, man, there was some eliminations happening, and I was just on my feet screaming with the crowd.
You know, straight up, ultimately, it's going to be based on an individual level, I think. You know, how good are you and how good is your mental at taking something that could be negative and turning it into something positive? Because, you know, not everything went right for any duo of that game, so they have to think about those things and be like, okay, what can we do? What have we scrimmed before that has kind of helped us throughout these situations? And just make those changes come into game number 2. But there's also duos, plenty of them, especially the top 10 on the leaderboard, who, you know, found things that worked for them. So keep doing those things, but again, not everything went perfect, so keep that in mind.
But nerves aside, as the games go on, it's going to start feeling more and more natural, I think, for a lot of these players. You're going
100%.
to start being able to focus in a lot more on the actual gameplay itself, and I think that's where the audience just becomes a little bit of background noise until it comes down to those final moments. But something that I'm really curious to see is whether or not these players are actually going to showcase some of their flexibility or adaptability, because Mustache and Luka, I think they're a great example of a duo where
ごめん、
they can go a
さあ
game
ちょ
or
っと
two or
ご飯
three
作ってくるわ
without
ラーメン
being
作ってく
able
る
to catch anything, and then they
腹減っ
just
た
turn up.
That's right. We've heard from us. We've heard from Mini Minor and Tokata.
ちょっと行ってくるわ
Let's go on over to casters to hear their thoughts on game number 1. Thank you so much for that quick, of course, toss there so we can start getting into our perspective here. I mean, Jacob, let's talk about what we know just coming out of game 1.
I mean, what we know, NA West, Cool and Yumi showing up big. Not only getting that 3rd place finish, but you saw that 2v1 off the back of Cool. Another thing, Acorn, NA in general, just kind of showing up. Obviously, EU won the game, but I think we need to start giving NA more credit.
Yeah, definitely have to give them that credit. They show up and then wait for them to win those early engagements.
Yep.
I mean, listen, we got to sit in the player lounge, quite literally stand over the shoulders of Anwon and Baka while they were practicing. They took on the likes. You know who they're training against?
Who are they training?
Reet and Epic Whale. That's their training partners. And I don't know about you, but if you were following Twitter, I posted a little clip of Reet taking on Murstache and Malabuka. So it kind of all ties together if Murstache and Malabuka are known as some of their greats. And then Anwon and Baka could hold their toe-to-toe with someone like Reet. I mean, it all just starts to make sense.
You know what I'm loving out of all that, though? You talked about the 2 partners, right? Anwon and Baka, and who they're sparring against, Reet and Epic Whale. That's NA West. That's NA West showing each other some love. I talked about a lot of these guys being friends, but when they're on the battlefield, they're enemies. That is just inner region training, and that's something I love to see.
That's right, and of course, the upsets, right? We saw a couple edge battles there. Booga and Miro taken out so early. This is one of the things we didn't really get to talk about. You would think that a team like Booga and Miro, who have drilled and trained their drop spot so perfectly, they almost have it conditioned, this should be another walk in the park situation for them. What do you think went wrong as they were rotating out? Because it seems like they face planted into Macwood and Kanata. That was the big resistance, and they were just taken out.
You know, without seeing too much of their POV, I can only go off a few educated guesses here, and just judging by 95 players being alive when Storm Surge hit, I think they were one of the few teams that were having problems dealing with that. And that's one of the things that I said in an interview before this event, that Storm Surge is going to be hard for these players to deal with, because the players that are above Storm Surge, they can hide in a box, they can focus on those rotations, but the ones that are below, they have to fight outside of Storm. They have to fight the first person they see in that first moment, because you can't continually falling down on that damage.
That's right. Well, listen, that's our perspectives here. We have so much more in store. Thank you guys so much for those insights. We actually have a really cool moment here. The casters kind of talked about Booga and Mira going down earlier. We had a listen-in moment. Let's take a look.
We need to find extra heals somehow. You should pop cabbage maybe for whites. I need to heal. Unless you throw me a mini now.
Yeah, come. I'll throw like right there.
Search, yeah. I want that big ammo crate, but I know they're just gonna get above us.
I mean, I think you can go for it. There's a chest there as well. It's definitely worth it with our loot. It's just glid off the thing.
Minis, yeah.
If we could get Surge here, we can get enough.
I mean, make sure this isn't baited, bro. It's not. Here, we can get stacked, bro. I'm chilling. If
Yeah,
we
I'm
get
good
Surge,
now.
we sit in zone, bro. We should look.
Yeah, like where though?
I
We just
mean,
have to. We'd have to follow right side.
Yeah,
like,
we have to go right side.
on
I'm
a
just gonna
crown.
go up. Nah, we should bunt.
Alright.
You can already tell. Even Booga and Miro are like, hey, we need Storm Surge. We need to make sure this is right. It is absolutely affecting many of these players. We will come back and talk about more of this in just a moment. First, I do want to throw it on over to the player area for a little special interview.
We have a very special interview, Zeke. I'm here with one of our alternate players, Frey. Now, Frey, you've been watching in the crowd, right? What's the energy like? How does it feel?
The crowd is amazing. I'm so happy that we have Leon's back. The crowd couldn't be crazier. It's so awesome to be here.
Yeah, we can hear them just there in the background as well. They're getting kind of crazy, right? So, of course, you're a professional player yourself. How would you prepare for an event like this? How do you think the players and what's been sort of going through their minds?
So I think bot viewing is extremely important. You need to know who's landing around you, what they do, what their tendencies are. And yeah, just bot view, fix your mistakes coming up to the event, and then just play your game.
Of course, you can give a big insight into the game as well. For a lot of these players, you can sort of, give your insight, maybe to talk to them as well. But just, we'll stop it right there. We'll throw it back to the desk for some more.
Thank you guys so much. Raleigh Convention Center, you guys ready? Because game number 2 is about to make its way here, so let's make some noise. It's game time. This is the FNCS Invitational 2022 coming at you guys live. Are you two ready?
Yes.
Yes, beyond ready and beyond excited. I think that more than anything else, this game number 2 could really be a little bit of a breakaway moment here for some of these duos. Cammy and Shetty in particular, they are definitely looking for another highlight reel instance. And whether it comes from Victory Royale or just from being able to rack up those elims, I think that the Polish powerhouse is certainly still making it known that they are some of the best.
Champions are on the stage, right?
I was gonna
Game
say.
number 2 is, this is where you got to start picking it up. You got to start developing your strategies around the meta of the lobby. And, who better to do it than the 100 of the best players from around all of the world?
Look at them zeroing in right now, Vivid. They are so amped. They are focused. The tension is real.
The tension is beyond real, and not only that, but I kind of want to touch on Booga and Miro. We saw that little listen-in instance between the two of them, and were it any other duo, I think there might be some room for concern, but Booga and Miro, I think, are champion. And yet, out of all the finals that he has competed in, he has only ever collected 3 victory royales.
Wow.
So it is a primary example of the fact that high ground can win games, but low ground could possibly win championships. And that moment in game number 1, while it wasn't able to go in their favor because they were struggling with surge management along with some of the other duos, again, they're able to make it happen.
All right, we've broken it all down. We had game 1 wrapped up, it's gone. Game 2 is here, it's now, the battle bus is ready, the players are on board. Let's just get this started.
俺カップ麺じゃなくて袋麺ね。じゃあちょうど始まったわ。
Thank you so much, Zeke. We get to start gearing up for this battle bus to take off now.
Yeah, this is finally setting in for a lot of these players on the stage. Game number 2 is starting right now, and hopefully all those nerves from the end of game number 1 have settled, because now when push comes to shove, some of these players that might be at the bottom of the leaderboard, Mr. Savage, iDrop, that went down early, they might have to start dealing with that storm surge early.
And that's right, we saw what happened in game 1. The real question is, how are you going to adjust coming into game 2? This battle bus is telling me that the Chrome Jam Junction is under fire very quickly. It's so close to the drop spawn, you can see already things kick off. This time, iDrop says, you know what? Let's put that weight, in my experience, on my back. Savage takes down Baka, and all of a sudden, it's a different tale to be told.
Happy birthday, Mr. Savage. First elimination here in game number 2, and that puts On1 on notice. You gotta have to watch out, because we're here to fight. That first one might have been a little lucky, but another one, this one, I feel like has to have a little bit more damage, because all 3 of these players, Monster, they were dealing with Storm Surge, and they were just on the cusp, some were even below.
this is not the only contested drop spot. Don't forget, Tilted Towers has so much going down there as well. So between Cloudy Condos and Tilted Towers, these are the two most contested drop spots. And what I saw there is Acorn and Edgy in the feed find Noah Ryler early. So there are big fights unfolding already, just giving us a little sample of how these drops are playing out.
Yeah, you can kind of see everybody just on their drop spot, the ones that don't necessarily have the POI. It's about looting up, getting as much resources as possible, trying to get as many metal and brick as you can in terms. That way, when you make it towards the end game, that way you don't have to worry about it. But for these teams that are also on the outskirts and talk about looting up, you have to start thinking about Storm Surge. Your pathing is going to be so important because we saw how many teams went down to the Surge itself.
Here is Poland's finest Game 1 winners.
ああ、クラムね。
Legend Settys and Cammy. This team here has
ああ、
placed
仕方ないよ。
in every finals they have ever
引退すると決めちゃったんだから。
Wait a second, hold that thought. And Ashley Pink here on the other side of the Joneses. This is a fight that's being extended out. The last time we were here,
攻めるね、攻めるね。
Duke, they actually held it off. Remember when we talked to Reet and Epic Whale, they said, hey, you know what? I believe in the fighting power of NA on this one. They have full confidence that they can do it. Thinking,
もしかしたらバラのプロになるかもよ。
And you got to think back to that NA East Finals where Clicks solo points after solo points, but as long as these two guys stay alive, they're going to be contenders for every single tournament they play in. Duke has FNCS champion in trios. Clicks is one of the best individual players on the planet.
We have a huge opportunity here for Duke and Clicks to continue to put up big numbers. We know they had an excellent kickoff to things here as they continue to find their strides, but things are going to slow down, and you know, you really genuinely expect this to happen, especially at a Fort Jonesies. This is not a POI big enough for two.
Yep, you see Clicks just trying to gather the information. The longer this fight goes and the higher they build, if it comes to it. Got Jason Basil over on the side. Those are the third parties that we saw towards the early of last game. This is Nas Pink trying to get deep into the box. That Evo Chrome Burst AR. We saw how much damage it does to these builds, and it eats through in a second.
More importantly, if you can find a tags, just
big.
like that, Pink and Nas already turning this story on its head here.
あね。
Bait there, he sees the shotgun. That moment, Duke does not let it drop. Now, mind you, Clicks has some of the greatest track record in history of taking on head-to-head battles like this. This is why he is so recognized as one of the greats of the space in these kind of moments.
This is where these guys, 66% of their overall victory royales do come from the low ground. Pink and Nas, they're just trying to keep a little bit of elevation. They're not ultimate high ground, 3-4 boxes big. They're just trying to keep that advantageous position as long as they can. But this monster, this one's dragging out a little too long. Do you think there's going to come a point in time where they just kind of abandon and try to get to the zone?
Well, I hope it continues because the rest of the lobby is just taking their time. 49 duos are still alive here, and this is one of the only ones deciding to go toe-to-toe. Clicks, once again, gets tagged there. And again, let's talk about the bad blood developing between these two. Pink and Clicks were once upon a time almost duos, as Pink was so close to traveling to United States to play alongside him, but now they find each other on the other sides of the monitor here, going head-to-head. And I mean, looking at the HP so far, it's looking very good for Guilds, NS, and Tundra's Pink.
Yeah, and honestly, let's talk about this prolonged fight and what happens if they do actually split right now. They're not going to have a lot of time to go ahead and mat up, but a big shot coming out from Clicks. We know what happens when this man has his back against the wall. His bite is much louder than his bark.
This is where Duke does tend to shine right now. These real scrappy types of engagements. This man does not tend to miss a shot. As now, they're looking. They know the enemies felt that on the other side of the wall, but hey, the longer they stay here, the less the less odds they have to actually survive. The longer story is, of course, making it to endgame. Let's jump on over, though, to our favorites of Miro and Booga here. Head-to-head with Z Andy, Joe FN, Bevy in the distance as well. There's so much going on here.
Yeah, for them, we saw that replay of last game during the listen-in. They were just dealing with Storm Surge and not the best way. Even though they were about 50 above, that's not the position you want to be in. But you can see Booga and Mero have a 60-plus win rate when contested. So they just need to find their rhythm here on this international stage.
Talking about international stage, Alex and Bailey, they have taken us from the player lounge to the main stage. Game 2 now, the fight, the second time. The story won't be the same. It's Yusri who finds the trade there, and now has to protect his teammate. A huge shot onto Bailey. It's not looking good for Oceania's champions here, but Bailey waits for the toe-to-toe. He gets the thirst, he needs the points. That's a kind of play you only see in person. A huge shot. Bailey says, respect me, Yusri.
いや今の駆け引きうまっ。
Does he have the time? Not finding a way to stabilize. Bailey's gonna get in, but only a sliver of HP, and that's why he's picking and choosing his fights right now. He's just going for piece control first, trying to heal up, getting as much shield as he can.
今のはうますぎでしょ
No HP to regain, so that knock on the Jew is so important.
And he knows he cannot allow him to get the heal off here. You will not save your teammate if it's up to Bailey. Yusri may have the health advantage, but Yusri has his back against the wall right now. The defensive trade, a huge shot, and
Oh.
Bailey gets caught with his pickaxe out. Yusri clutches up, saves his
いやあの階段での駆け引きやばくない？いや相手残り HP4 だったよ。
Elimination on the walks. Now it's up to Rob Bob, trying to stay alive here, trying to get and find a position to where he can hide. You see it in the mini-map. He just got out, and I love that play coming out from some of these players, choosing not to be the hero, because you end up in the hero in the wrong position, you're end up going to be a zero.
いやもうその辺のさ対面のメンタルすごいよね。
Between Walks and Robot, but there's a huge development happening here. Let's watch this back one more time. Here's how it kicks off. Cool finds the huge tag. All of a sudden, the knock is there. And yes, there was a third party in the side. You get the reaction as well. You can see how fans are cheering in support of one another. But
そうだよね、ほんとうまかった。やっぱ世界大会出れるだけあるからね、みんな強いよね、対面。
So this has got to be Ed coming out from Brazil, EU. NA West trying to take down the region, trying to bolster their points, because right now the only points they have is that elimination onto King. But with Storm now covering and moving over them, Ultimate Teams now in the distance as well, it's going to become more and more dangerous.
Fafnir's one of the only competitors, one of the very few left in our scene that has been here since the World Cup. He placed 5th in duos way back
やっ
when.
ぱ
Wait for him to step up
強
to
気に
the
いけるか
show
強気にいけないか
and
で
take on this first FNCS finals
対面勝てる
ever
か勝てないか決まるんだろうね。
alongside Hellfire there from Denmark, but on one in Baka, did they get the save off?
No, I think Onwin's there by himself. He's just trying to stay alive, and it does look like Larson and Smite might know he's there. And this is where Onwin has to be very, very careful, fighting in the storm with very little HP. Larson knocking on the door, trying to burst his way in. You see the bait and switch come through, trying to make sure that both of these players have enough HP to take a big shot from Onwin and continue that bait and switch. But he
あいつ頑張って英語喋るらしいよ。
Such a great and strong showing in game 1. He loses his teammate to Mr. Savage out the gate, survives, saves them, but Smite and Larson, who are contested here by Looter and Muzz, are still in the zone, and they meet him, and that's how they get this first elim. So it's only a matter of time now as their clock rages on. Smite steps up, and there it is. The zone.
あ、さすがにここはやられるか。
Their second elim now, wiping up one of the greats from NA West.
They got to go ahead and travel to zone, but back on board, Falconer and Hellfire, but let's just make it Hellfire because Ed was able to take down Falconer in a 1v2 situation. Now he's 1v1 versus EU. Brazil trying to stand up tall. Ed put the pressure onto those covers, but he knows when to pick and choose his fights. He hears the splashes coming out. He knows that's going on to Falconer. The shield keg as well. He's trying to stop as much of the heals from going through, but it does look like Hellfire is going to get 200 yet again.
Listen, Ed recently signed to Team Liquid, showing you guys why exactly he deserves to be here. He has had some of the most impressive rises in recent times on his region, but now he's looking to represent for Brazil. And of course for Argentina, his teammate King, who is already down. Hellfire manages to lose his teammate. The wall gets taken.
おー、防げたのね。
React quickly, but look at that. He does not miss a beat. Ed finds the siphon, and now it's an even exchange.
Yep. Right now, the 2 launch pads on the Hellfire. He can abandon this fight at a moment's notice. But Ed with no HP, it's all or nothing. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Here it is.
おー。
1v2s at East.
Brazil and Argentina are probably standing on their feet right now. Ed touches
1v2 クラッチ。
Oh my gosh! And if somehow, some way, he found a way to get King's card, but they've gone over to Chonker Speedway.
いやすごい駆け引きだったよ今。
Reason and Aqua going up to 10 and 4. Our Bevy Bevy and Vortexers, they have a lot of practice going against each other on the EU region, so this is no strange fight to them.
What's scary about this is the fact that they've rotated out of the condo down to the territory of Bugha and Miro at Tonker Speedway. And yes, they get met with this incredible duo, but it shows you that no one is safe. This entire area is such a deadly play zone, and now you have Reason with the scraps, with his back against the wall, below the Storm Surge, absolutely ready to commit to this battle.
Yep, Aqua and Reason again, 140 below the damage threshold. And you can see all the players at the top of the damage threshold, but this is again what is going to happen at Cloudy Condos. A triple contested spot, but nobody is fighting. That's forcing these players to rotate away to find some extra loot and find the damage. And 165 below, Monster, I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't nervous.
Copenhagen Flames, Pablo and Swag on your screen right now, also below, but hey, a good little tag here of Elim for Swag right now, puts him in a nice position. They found a player out in the distance, Snacky and Fast, have a window open there.
名前が見えない距離なんだな。
They're all looking to target Noah Riley and Bad Sniper. Remember, Noah Riley was eliminated very early to the hands of Edgy while they were landing, and he didn't even get to touch down before he was swatted out the sky.
And game number one winners, Cammy and Seti. They haven't even done much. They get the zone for now. They get the high ground. Probably just trying to go for surge. So that way, when they are forced to rotate, they only have to worry about that. But we knew they were down on the surge.
So.
Trying to come over. They're trying to break into the boxes. It's now or never because damage is being dished. A huge shot from Aqua's onto Bevy, who's forced back into a defensive position.
Well, here we go. It's now enough in 20 seconds left, but so the surge gets active, and they have to turn up right now. This is game number 2. Aqua needs these points here. Bevy's
多分この試合の順位のはず。
way down. He's back up to Vex HP. He's looking pretty solid, but Aqua not afraid by any means. Meanwhile, Reason finds a wall. That's an angle, but he doesn't like the defensive edit.
おお、そこ行かなかったのすご。俺行っちゃうもん、あんな。
Here it is. Things are going to get dicey as the Storm Surge turns on.
Yeah, look at them. You can see 30 below. Even though they're continuously dropping, they're doing damage. Seti getting one on a Peppo, probably sending him back to the lobby. As Scram goes down as well. Acorn found a way to get rebooted, but Deja Vu strikes. He goes down again to Epic Whale, who honestly is having a much better performance this go around.
But back into the action.
アクアたちがダメージ食らってるのかこれ。
Aqua is also on the defensive stance here. Down goes
Wow.
huge shotgun shot from Vortexer from the side. If you blinked, you missed it, and now Aqua has all the pressure on his shoulders. He has to back up. But Vortexer playing smart, respecting the GOAT of EU. Aqua here, our World Cup.
ああ、これで一気にアクアの状況が悪くなった。形勢逆転だね。
One false move and it could be it, but the surge is going to hurt Aqua again. He gets to heal off and no, he gets finished. Vortexer finds the second.
500 above the damage threshold. This is only their second FNCS playing together, and they're looking like they are longtime teammates already. As Joe and Z Andy, uncontested, over towards Synapse Station, looking to get some damage as well. Even though 79 is above the damage threshold, you know as well as I do, that is absolutely nothing.
Vixen and Arctor here. Oh no, they're going to find a huge elimination here.
残り16。
It's tracking the flies in the distance there. You see folks starting to look over. Arctor has a decision to make. Does he push in again? They barely have anything. They've used all their heals. One tag is all it's going to take for take them out. Oh, Grove claps back though, and that's a huge punishment there. And with the downed body, he says, you know what? I'm going to full finish here. I'm back in this game. Arctor takes off running for the hills.
That was a much needed battle by Groves, and I like to play again. You cannot be a hero in these lobbies as Mustache. Looking like he's having
でもこの2試合目もアンチウム恵まれてるね、アジア勢は。
2 eliminations already, so they finished this fight, but you can see the teams on the outskirts of Rocky Reels. They don't want to let this be an easy rotation to one of the deadly.
さあこれ壊されるのはとても痛いんじゃないか。
Off they go. It's Chicho and Trulix who are looking in. These guys have gone head-to-head so many times in the past, and you know there is all types of bad stories waiting to unfold in front of us. But Chicho and Trulix don't get the Elim. They manage to hit the ground running. Malibu and Mustache are waiting here, though. Well, yeah, time to fight back.
Malibu just trying to break through. He talked about in some of those interviews playing a little bit more passive than what he's used to. 2 eliminations. I gotta think they're trying to pick and choose a lot of their battles, but the lobby is putting such a focus onto these two, getting them to expend so many
いやーきついな、ヘイト買ってるな。
about 60 to 70 HP as well. Mustache is trying to do
メルスたちマニブカチームがやばい。
method here, but it's just happening from so many different players who have so many different angles.
ランチンは入って。
It pulls pretty close to all the players nearby. Finally, things settled down. Tayson and Chapik's last game found the same duo on the edge, but
まあ多分ミレムザゴチーム生きてるだろうね。
let's get to the opposite side. It's Thomas HD and Tripburn. What a great standing so far here, looking pretty solid. They have Janice and Vidil Bugan nearby. Bugan and Miro are also making it much further this game, looking like they've adjusted, learned from their last mistakes, but here we go, that familiar story, 3 above.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in the circle is, the zone is literally in the center of the zone, so I don't think there's going to be too much of any slow side for a lot of these teams to try to travel to. Is Miro taking a couple of shots, but the team that went off spawn trying to have a much better performance. Mr. Savage and Eyedropper under siege, under pressure. Mr. Savage
いや初動全然バチバチじゃないよ。めっちゃ駆け引きがあるからさ。
on his back here. Eyedrop has to step up. Savage is down. Can he do it? He's been in so many finals.
いや今のはうまいわ。今のうまい。
In a big setting like this, but of course, the first return to in person, they're going to allow Marine might actually allow him to get the pickup. Whoa, that is a huge mistake there.
Yeah, a huge mistake, and honestly, these are one of those things that you take a picture, you record this moment right here. Mr. Savage went down. You give a player
いやこれあるあるだわ。お今ミル見たやん。ミルムザゴ。
Sticking box to box, hip to hip, landing on a couple more resources as well. This is a perfect spot to land at for Eyedrop and Mr. Savage.
いや健在の量えぐ。
Such a massive find right there. It was looking like it was all over for a moment. But there, they get a little lucky.
ミルムザゴ生きてるね。ルナペポ生きてるかな。アリスとまだ名前覚えてないあの人。
4 elims, like you said. Clown Ref's guard, just a little bit above him. You just check a sneak peek at the leaderboard. Cammy and Seti still holding on to first place by 7 to Asia's Barim and Zagu.
あザゴたち2位だ今。
3-time champions Favs and Snappy sitting in a good spot, trying to gather the information. But Vidil and Janice are under pressure. But Vidil down, 56 below the damage. Shots from Thomas HD to take down another EU powerhouse.
And in the distance, Japan is just lurking nearby. Asia has performed so well. Remember, Mareem and Zagu are in second place as the most recent FNCS champion.
これなんて言ったのか分かんなかったね今。絶対ザゴたちのこと言ったんだよな。完璧に。
This is a team that we have expected to come out so far ahead of the competition as they have had one of the more dominating tracks leading into this, taking home a multitude of Elite Cup finals where the competition, as we know it, is extremely tough. Meanwhile, Smite and Larson, battles breaking out above them. They get to steal the loot here. That's a great find.
Yeah, that's a huge find for them.
いやここ回収できるの強いんだよな。
Inventory, get some more heals. The Chrome Splash probably going to be used a little bit later just to get that rotation to come through. For them, they found a huge amount of resources. That way they could try to make it towards the next end game. But you see Storm Surge just still affecting so many teams.
Tough spot for being there for Larson as he misses the heal. And Anas and Pink go down from the high ground. It's Vortex in hand. They are just turning this lobby upside down right now. Queasy and Vino are back at it again, though, in this end game here, trying to find a position. Now, remember, what they did in the last game was exactly this. Half in, half out. They say, hey, we're going to play for high ground. Vortex says, all right, you can have it. Hen says, you can
さあ今度は逆の立場になりましたね。おっと。これハイグラ取っててもみんなハイグラ意識ちょっと高めだからか。あクイジーブのチーム。いやちょっとザゴーたちやばいんじゃないか。あやばいね。
champions Mareem and Zagu once again leading into this game second place. No heals. Very peculiar spot to be in. The zone pulls far south as well. Now they have some mats, but they will absolutely need a refresher right now. Maybe even a gifted launch pad from a team in the distance.
これ今 なんだっけ、クロムで回復してるからちょっとまだ大丈夫だけど、シールド回復ないのにきついね。うわー、ミーム死んだか。いやさ、ザゴーがどれだけ伸ばせるからな。
Kanata still alive in this game as well. Keep an eye out for him, but Seti and Cammy have to defend their lead right now. 3 elims, what a way to do it so far. Meanwhile, Queasy and Vino are still on hype. This is one of the toughest end zones as well. Flutter Barn has so much varying terrain. You have to be careful. There are indestructible, large stone monuments in between you and your rotate.
But Kanata going down, leaving Macwood as a solo. They at least got 1 elimination, so they don't have to worry too much about damage in terms of Storm Surge. But Bugha and Mero, as it does shut off, you saw they were well above it. So changing up their strategy, and it's paying off handedly.
The pacing is incredible right now. Only 19 duels remaining. Things have really taken a turn here for the worst for most.
うお、えぐい減り方。
And turned back to the lobby there as he falls, but that's still well inside the top 20. Meanwhile, Vino on high ground, looking very comfortable. No resistance. Larson and Smite are making up for where they left off. They may have not earned a huge game 1, but a great game 2. And now Miro and Bugha are fighting back.
Yeah, 2 of the big NA West powerhouses going down. They're trying to get another elimination, but Bugha and Mero, huge shots gonna be fired. But Mero's getting tagged back up. He needs that siphon to go through, but it's still not gonna be enough. PH then does go down. Bugha trying to be that IGL. He's trying to lead him to greener pastures, but he's running out of resources. Macwood falls. High ground though. Does Vino and Queasy still have that position onto the high ground? As Smart and Lawson, they're not ultimate low, but they found themselves that perfect middle layer.
And you'll notice Bugha is now left by himself. KBR finds his teammate Smite and Larson on the
あー、これアジアチーム死んだな、全員。
firing back and on height. Vino and Queasy are looking like this is a fairy tale game for EU once again, but we'll see if NA can step up to the damage. Let's see it head. It's going to be
このチームが強すぎる勢い今。
Smite doesn't find the full elim here, but my gosh, already at 6 eliminations. Meanwhile, we jump over. Sensen and Cole still alive here. This is where they do best. Like we said before, it's bread and butter. They know how to stick it. They have to now. Cold is hurt.
もう勢いがやばすぎる。
Not wanting to fall short here today, but Cammy and Seti from high ground to low ground. Another end game is going to be achieved. True Lex gets dropped. Smite's going to go ahead and lend that helping hand, trying to steal away all of that loot. But the zone is just immediately chunking him out. 4 HP and a dream for Smite.
And a huge end game right now in front of Smite here. At top 5 unlocked before him. Cammy goes down, Seti goes down, and it is all his here. And he fights back with the
まあ仕方がない。
Great game there, but Vortex is now by himself. What can he do? Cole and Sentin now have the high ground. They've turned the story around.
I don't know how they sold it away, but Kitos is solo as well. High ground versus low ground, but it's a 2v2. Sentin and Cole versus Vortexers and Hen. This is going to come down to the wire monster.
でも今回結構早めだね。2試合目。
When and where they drop down low.
Once again, we are looking at an NA versus EU finish. Cold is going to get big tag there by Vortex on the low ground. 7 elims, no builds. It's looking very, very tough. And it's the same story for Hen as well. It's all or nothing. Can they find something here? But Scented and Cold, although they have the height, they are also running extremely low on resources. But if there's a team that can do it, it is them.
Yeah, you see them trying to go back outside of zone, trying to find anything to work with in terms of Hen and Vortex. Sentin and Cole to talk about. It's up to them when and where they drop down low. The game is definitely in their hands. They just have to close it out. EU versus NA East. This one is just a prolonged long game, but the damage is in from Cold.
And this is what we talked about. That wall. There's nothing you can do. It's all or nothing. Down goes Cold.
さあでもこれ登れないぞ。
They're gonna wait this one out just for a little bit and allow the zone to do the rest. Cold finds the one and Sentin finds the other. NA takes game number 2.
You look at that. The passion, the emotion coming out of Sentin and Cold. A team from NA East. Honestly, I don't think they got the right respect coming into this event because of what happened to them last season.
That's right. Cold and Sentin have been here before, and now they get a victory.
in person, on stage against some of the best.
Edit, getting a shot in, and the type of games that are scary because, you know, we saw great out of them, right? Going for those plays is what is going to make the difference on the international stage.
As far as the IGLing is concerned, Queasy seems relatively confident still in that decision. 2 times over now, we've seen this.
めっちゃ飛ばしてたかも。
This has been probably their least favorite duo to meet, though.
Yeah,
Chapik
めっちゃ飛ばしたな。
It does look like they're fighting.
なんか
Reboot onto Looter.
all this pressure onto Muzz's shoulder. The next round of action.
Yeah, game number 3 right around the corner, but 2 exciting games. Battle Bus is ready. Not long to wait because game number 3 starts now.
Now we're moving at my pace. Let's do this. Take a look at your screens. Take a look at these players. Someone here will walk away with it all.
$200,000 for first place. A trophy unlike ever before seen in Fortnite. And a chance to call yourself one of the best in the world of Fortnite, not just your region.
And it looks like we have a very similar bus to the last round. That means these northern contested teams are going to fight first. One of the biggest things we saw from game 2 was that early elimination onto Noah Riley. Edgy quite literally, you know, took him out before he can even touch down. And then of course, there's this battle here, a battle of who can get the best drop. And what a great way to kick things off. Such a powerful loadout to really start things here.
Yeah, and it does look like Baka and Onwon making yet another adjustment. They win the off-spawn fight in game 1. They lose it in game 2. And this time around, they're not even contesting for a fight, but blinking, you might have missed it. A first elimination is going to be on to Looter. So Smite and Larson are finding ways to get things done again.
And A fires back first.
Okay.
Onto OCE here. And a great find, a great reward comes out of the very little time Larson and Smite had to loot up there. Take a look at these loadouts. It all comes together for them now. You know, sometimes it's all it takes, right? Sometimes it's all it takes is a little bit of luck. You get the right loot, you're able to take that fight, that fight nice and fast and clean it up.
You can see now the picking and choosing come through. They're going to slow things down, try to loot up as much as possible, making their way in towards one of the only houses towards Grim Gables, and you can kind of see in the distance,
この辺のケア全く怠らないね。
cause too much commotion and put the focus onto him. He's just trying to wait for Smite and Larson to leave so he can try to get that free reboot onto Looter.
All this
あ、ミリムザ5
onto
位だ。
Muzz's shoulders now as he is trying to wriggle his way through this low ground here. He knows that material is going to be the key to allowing him to do something big here. Achieve the unthinkable, win a 1v2 against Smite and Larson, who built their entire reputation this last chapter off of these early games.
おっと、これはだいぶきついぞ。
He walks to the wall. Muzz, you're great, but how good? And no, Smite and Larson come out on top. They clean things up for 2 games in a row now and earn themselves a little bit more.
And as soon as Mr. Savage gives up a little bit of the high ground on, when Baka immediately trying to take it over, him and iDrop are separated just a little bit, and that could have been a perfect opportunity for them to strike, but everybody is just biding for time, biding for that perfect moment so that they can pounce. And this one that we talked about, you heard it from Mr. Savage, you heard it from iDrop. I've been landing here for a year straight. No one is going to scare me off.
Well, the real question is iDrop walling out right now? He is getting very close to Onwon and Baka. But no, now he decides, all right, I'll listen to you, Savage. I'll come on down, but you have to meet me down here as well. And they start to retreat here. And this might just end, but no, Baka steps up, but Savage is so quick. What a shot right there. And now he turns the tables around. iDrop looking to meet them down here. A great pre-fire, but not enough to find a tag. And all of a sudden, now they reevaluate.
Yeah, I like the outside of the box thinking coming out for a couple of players in the game already, bringing out their protractors, trying to find that extra angle. And that's the thing, if you have all that confidence in your teammate as a solo, you'll allow them to kind of play with the angles, play with the high ground, and try to see what they can get.
Oh.
They get 149 damage, disappearing off the back of Onwon. Another shot's gonna be fired.
おお、まさかの返された。
Mr. Savage versus Onwon.
Savage wants none of it. He wants none of it. He finishes it up. And just like that,
うえ
he's back in it. Meanwhile, Malibu and Mustache.
マリブカメルスタッチがじゃあピックスと誰だっけもう言ってや
performance have been met with so much resistance.
あ、チャピックステイソンか。
There's a new great team waiting for them. This has been probably their least favorite duo.
全然トッププレイヤーなんだよな。
It does look like they're fighting over the vault that is right below him. Doesn't want to let that one go easy. But you got to be careful because there's a third team landing towards Cloudy Condos, another team towards the north in the form of Kanata and Macwood that could be lending that helping hand, trying to get that Storm Surge damage for themselves and make your job that much harder. For Malibuka and Mustache, it's all about trying to find the perfect angle, trying to find that information so they can try to catch a player off guard, because we already know they're one of the most aggressive teams in this lobby.
See it. You're waiting, trying to capitalize on any opportunity here. We all know what Tayson is capable of. One of the most winningest players in the European region. He has done it all. He has proven it all. All that's left is for him to show up in person and put the numbers up. But it's no easy task right now. Malibuka and Mustache are so good playing defensively right now. They're doing a great job, but Tayson is slowly, inch by inch, getting closer and closer.
He won't let that piece control go over. Tayson has tried a few times, but you try again. Eventually, you'll find some success. They're able to take it just for a few seconds, but the longer you fight this far out of zone, it's going to get more and more dangerous because we got a little bit of a north zone going on. These guys are going to have to end this one sooner than later, even if they both choose to disengage.
Mustache fighting back here, trying to regain the walls here.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Huge tag on Chapik here, nicely done. He's gonna open things up, allow him to get some more territory, and closer he walks, but Tayson fights back. The 4X FNCS champion is all of a sudden now with his back against the wall here. But no, he's hurt. Malibuka says, forget that. It takes him down. And now it's up to Mustache. And no, he finishes it off too. And Chapix is left running, trapped now, inside the box. Oxygen starting to run out. He fights back, but for how much?
さあ、追い込まれてんね。
Does so much damage. He loses the wall. And no more shield now, and it's all over. Chapix and Tayson fall.
And for Malibuka and Mustache, that is huge. Because not only does it get you elimination points, it gets you the Storm Surge, so you don't have to worry about it later in the game as Chimp and Scram trying to get things going for them. Chimp, one of the most consistent players in NA East. You got Hamsu and Batch on the other side, also from NA East, so they have a lot of familiarity in terms of fighting against each other. Scram is going to be the odd man out, and you see him trying to find some separation because him and Chimp are not that close together. And all it takes is for both of them to kind of bum rush into one box and kind of end their run.
Now jumping over to the other side of the map, as we all know, this area, one of the most highly contested zones right now, Tilted Towers. At every single in-person event has always been the home of fireworks. And Chicho and Trulix are looking to go ahead and see what they can spark up nearby, but that's not going to be anything. On the other side, NA West, cooling Yumi. One of the few teams on NA West showing up in the top 10 so far.
Yeah, had a fantastic game, number one, third place. Cool, got to be living on a prayer right now because for him, he 1v2'd. Unfortunately enough, he was unable to get Yumi up in that game. He had to finish it off as a solo. And for this duo, it's kind of slow and steady. They land out here towards the island, a little uncontested. They might have one team just a little bit south. For them, it's about getting the resources, looting up, and then they go on the top of the Mighty Monument to find their surge before they eventually try to rotate out.
Robob and Walks now, stepping up. They're chasing down Peppo here.
Runa's already gone.
Yaba.
Runa, yeah, way
Peppo.
off.
No, he's gone. He's out. He's watching.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be good. Bob forced to kind of in a defensive position. Walks trying to alleviate some of that pressure. Peppo doing all he can. One of the best in his region, but it does look like it's going to be taken. Walks with a huge shot. Runa and Peppo go down in fifth place.
Tough spot to be in for Runa and Peppo. One of the few representatives for the Asia region have now been taken out. Cold and Sensen on the other side after a hot win there are now in position up dead center, and it seems like they have done enough. This villain story that we've seen unfold over the weekend, contested in the lead up. Malibuka and Mustache still problems on the horizon. Could it be, of course, Booga and Mira who were looking off and picked them off?
I knew they were going to go on top of the Mighty Monument to try to get the Storm Surge, but great minds think alike. Peterbot and Jamper from NA East beat them to it and took down one of the players from the NA West Championship duo is going to lead Cool by himself yet again. But how many 1v2s can you take?
This is Peterbot, though. Put some respect on his name, and he makes it look easy. It's just like that. Jamper and Peterbot earn themselves a huge elimination onto a team inside the top 10. What an Elin.
And for them, you got to think Peterbot and Jamper don't have to worry about Storm Surge in the immediate future. But you know how active this lobby is. They got to start thinking about it later on in the game once they find that rotation.
Well, listen, we have Mini Miner here to update us on more action.
Thank you so much, Monster. Now, this is a prime example as to how to finish a fight quickly, right? We know PH Scene and Ketos are fighting in the middle of the map. They need to finish this fight quickly, and look at that. Pinching from both angles, getting that Storm Surge done early, as well as bolstering their loot. Look out for this team for the rest of the game.
And that is such a huge set of elims there, because that's another team that is huge, like honestly showing up for the Brazilian region. PH and Ketos, man, wait for them to just really show out. You know, the discussion and lead up to this entire event was things are going to be easier. You know, let's not respect these guys. And now all of a sudden they're saying, hold up. No, hold my water. Hold my mini shield. Let me show you what I'm capable of. And I am so impressed by what we have seen so far.
And you're seeing a lot more activity in this game than the previous two, because they're starting to fill each other out. They're realizing how hard it is to get Storm Surge later on in the game, so they're trying to get it as early as possible, so that when they end up in those closed zones, they're boxed up, they can pick and choose when they have to peek, instead of Storm Surge saying you have to go or you're going to go back to the lobby.
Video no stranger to victory royales, but falling very much short so far. You saw the standings there, 4 points separating first and second. Still a very much competitive competition, but EU has taken big strides to start leading the pack here. Pamsu and Fatch are solid, but let's get on over to Clix and Duke here. They've had such an uphill battle fighting their way out of the Joneses against Pink and Anas, and we've already seen it has not been easy for them.
35 below the damage threshold. For them, they have to worry about it, yes, but it's such a low number. They're just trying to get ahead of a lot of the rest of the teams, so that way they can easily try to look back. And the shot still coming in from the high ground. There goes Duke trying to poke a couple of shots. He finds some good damage, but takes some as well. Going to be above the damage threshold, so once again, they can find a way to kind of rotate forward. And I want to see them do that now, because history says when Clix and Duke fall behind the zone, they somehow find a way to kind of not have those good games.
I think the player base tends to forget, the scene tends to forget. Clix has also competed in the World Cup for solos and duos. This is where it all began for him so many years ago. And just look at the difference now. All grown up here at the international stage, still competing at the highest caliber. Remember Reem and Zagu, similar stories. They've been for a very long time, but look at this. Tough right now. This is the worst we've seen them.
Yeah, we're pretty active in game number 1. Trying to do it again in game number 2. Game number 3, 164 below the damage threshold. The lucky thing is that not only are they right at the edge of zone, they have rotation right above them, they have elevation right above them, so they're going to be able to kind of lay their eyes on the land and try to find the shots. But Bevy and Vortex are under siege yet again. Luckily for them, they're 153 above the damage threshold, so they can pick and choose. Do we fight this here? Do we kind of wait a little bit longer? And it looks like they're just going to peek, try to get even more surge, and hunt down these teams as Vortex takes a huge amount of damage.
Vortex versus Vortexers for a second there. Don't be confused. Two very different duos. Kanata and Macwood, though, are alive right now. We've seen them put up some exceptional performances today so far, especially in that game 1. They were the upset to Bugha and Miro. Game 2, not quite where they wanted to be, but this here is a chance at redemption. They find Robab and walk on the edge of zone. Malabuka from the storm to the new safety of the zone. It's not looking good, though. He has lost his teammate.
Yeah, early games, they were below on damage, not getting too aggressive. And you see the A's duo taking out Brazil as well. King went down, but that's Jason Basil above Malabuka. Do they know he's weak? That is the biggest thing, because if they know he's a solo and they know he has a total of 86 HP and shields, you know as well as I do, they're probably going to go, but that's information that they lack.
Well, don't yell too loud. Let's go ahead and jump into Bad Sniper and Noah Riley right now. They're starting to eye up the competition on the other side of the wall as well. You can see they're just looking, but hey man, there's something about these extremely healthy builds. you know, no one really wants to fully commit a full mag inside. You have to start deciding for yourself. Are they in a world of trouble? Can I actually do it? And Bad Sniper says, instincts speak louder here. I want to step up. I want to take this fight right now.
He heard Fab's shield get cracked by Storm Surge, and he immediately looked that direction. Bad Sniper and Noah Riley coming out with a vengeance here in game number 3. Right around the corner, though, you got to watch out. Cammy and Seti is there, but back on board this fight where Malapuka is still alive by himself. Jason Basil, they're trying to attack right now, but Malapuka doing a good job. He's doing everything that he can. Pressure from so many angles. Is he going to be able to escape?
Let's see it go down. Jason Basil have an incredible win rate in these close game battles in the early zones, and look at that. All of a sudden now they add to it, padding the stat, making it look nice and solid. Clicks and Duke thought about it. They say, no, OCE boys, you got it. I'm getting out of here. And that is so much respect because they are so far below the surge as well. They could have easily stood there and fight. They need it more than anyone. As do, oh my gosh, our game leaders, Seti and Cammy, are actually below the surge. This is so bad for them.
They just need to be able to find a position front side of zone, but traveled, but there's so many teams in front of them. 3 directly on the right, 3 directly on the left.
Oh, no.
1 is behind them, and it's hot on their heels. That's Noah Riley, that's Bad Sniper. He was shot by Cammy, box to box. He's knocking on the door. He wants to finish this one off inside of Storm. Nobody really having HP to kind of regenerate, and Cammy and Seti go down.
And Bad Sniper gets to represent for France. They're taking down our Polish duo alongside Noah Riley as well. Way to do it there. Switzerland has to be happy, but let's jump on over to Rizon, who is, of course, representing for the EU side and Germany. But let's see it. Aqua looks for something. He's got Duke in his sights for Duke. Claps back.
いや、これやってるからさ、今。できるかわからん。
Yeah, Duke was getting chunked out by the zone. He had 2 players hot on his heels. It's not the exact position you want to be in, but these guys
何時くらいに開くん?
any moment in any game, but for them, they're down 3.
And 1 shot, 2 Eagle Limbs, a very rare occurrence.
When you're that good, you're that good.
That is true. Here's an ass in pink. We already know. Now, their biggest problems are down. They're out.
時間にもよると思う。
Kitos and PH in. Here they are. Looking to continue to hold their position. They're 100 above the surge. They are just around that top 5 position leading into game 3. What is almost the halfway mark of the competition. And Brazil could not be prouder to have them representing here.
You see, jumping on board. Rob Bob Kebab is already down. He is out. Chimp's gonna be able to get 2.
5時はね、俺無理だね。このまだ半分しか終わってないからこれ。
He has no shield. He has no HP to regenerate. Just 50 HP total.
まあリツイートいかなかったら多分できると思う。8時くらいなら。
He has a far rotation to go, and he's gonna have to probably use both of them with short pads in order to get there.
That's right. He's looking to go ahead and make that move. There's nothing in front of him. Meanwhile, Miro and Bugha, decisions for them as well. How do they want to move out? They hear the launch pad go off. They say, hey, let's save ours. Come up here. Let's go ahead and recycle that candy.
何リツイートで開こうと思ってんの?
And they go in the opposite direction. That is the difference in strategy. Miro and Bugha go right. Closest way of least resistance directly to the zone. Wax stood far left.
And that probably would have been the saving grace because he ran into Aqua and Reason, who immediately took him down. His threats is going to fall as well. Pablo gets taken down to Brazil's Quitos. Alex going ahead and taking down TSM.
おお、赤だった。今アリスに見えた。
Trying to find that sweet spot because you know as well as I do, as long as they make it to end zone, those eliminations will
120か。あ、オッケー。俺ちにネタバレだけはガチやめてね。ネタバレしたらバンするから。1人バンしたし。なんなら。
refresh right there, quite literally bounce them back in the game. And man, you don't see this very often where it's your drop spot where you start off and the zone just lands directly on top of you. So they are being served up.
Yep. And right
まあいいや、とりあえず俺もリツイートはしといてあげるわ。
you already know how to traverse every
あ、今スマホ
that is around as Kito's still trying to do wonders. Not a lot of HP on
そうなんよ、俺全試合できるとっちゃって。 なわけあるか、俺出てねえんだよ。
If they wait too much longer, they will be down. They will be out.
Well, here it is. Luckily for them, the threshold is met, and they do not have to fight, but they know what's in front of them now. They have a huge monumental task to step up here. You can see there, that's a wall that cannot be built there. Here it is. So it's all or nothing now, right? We know the Brazilian region to be one of the most aggressive. PHZin is literally tied for third for the most FNCS champions individually in his region and globally. So
おお、ザゴ生きてる。いや、でも健在の量だいぶ少ないね。
Some of Japan's best are here.
Tripper and Thomas HD, one of EU's best as well. And honestly, one of the fan favorites to take it all. 296 above the damage threshold. Joe and Z Andy right in front of him. Piece control is going to be important towards this end game because if you go into the wrong box at the wrong time, they're going to take you out, and they're just trying to gather that information. They know they don't have far to go as the shot's going to be fired and landed onto Hen, who's dropped down to about 50 HP. And with that, you see other teams taking notice, and they're also putting that pressure on.
Chiprin has full trust in his teammates, but their Elim gets sniped up right there. It's Zagu and Marine who are just coming out and literally reaping the benefits, taking all the spoils. Edgy and Acorn have high ground right now. What in the world? An excellent game. 1 second place finish, leading into game 3 in a such dominant position right now.
Yeah, and I was one of those people last season saying Edgy can do it on NAEs, try to be the 2 region champion. What would you call that here? Would he be the 7 region champion, 8 region champion if he wins this?
I mean, at this point, he's looking to break
お、ベノがダウンしてんのか。お、まさかの。いやー、これは仕方がない。
This is their home position, the drop spot of Shiny Sound, and now all of that luck and hard work, preparation out the window.
Yeah, it was 2 different teams, one from EU. They actually got an elimination each on the team as Scented and Cold trying to get to that front side of zone. They have that victory royale in the last game. 32 above the damage threshold. Luckily for them, not too many players have to go down before they go ahead and have to not worry about it. Is Aqua, Reason, not too much to worry about in terms of Storm Surge, but they have to find that sweet spot in zone. They're going to use the launch pad to get there.
When you see Reason and Aqua looking up, you know there's only one thing in front of them. How can we take this high ground? Tripper, no, has a problem in front of him. He gets punished. He backs up. Great defensive.
いや、すぐに移動できるの強。
And Thomas takes the lead. He says, "Hey, you go ahead, pause down, heal. I'll continue to tarp out. We have the zone right here." See Andy and Joe, even with a messed up finger, Joe is not going to allow him to stop playing for the big positions right now.
健在の量多い、めっちゃ。
Been affecting him at all. Look at this. 3 Elins.
メロ死んでる。
Even if it's contested, Reason and Aqua trying to fight for it, but they're going to get stuffed. They're going to get shut down for now. And you can see the pressure from Joe and Z Andy. They're looking towards the backside of zone, and they're putting shots on players who are suffering the Storm Surge.
Oh, he goes for the low pad. Aqua wants to get down to the low ground here. No reason to play for the builds. He doesn't have enough to make it. Is Reason behind him is the real question. Meanwhile, another endgame for Kitos and PHZin. They have 4 Elins representing for Brazil right now, and they are almost inching their way to the top 10 right now, but Cold and Scented are right in front of them. This is where they do the most work. This is where they play best.
Yeah, they're just recycling a lot of those builds towards the low ground. Trippin trying to take that cheeky shot to the backside of zone. Elevation up. Thomas HD probably leading the charge, making sure that these guys are on the same page through and through. Booga backside of zone. 2 men miss. He's just trying to go ahead and stagger himself out, and he found an elimination onto Jew. More HP for him, and look at the resources he found.
And it's huge right now. He's managing to fight his way through. He finds another one there in the zone. A
いや、
huge
ブーが強いな。
and look at him start to sprint here, but no.
わー。
Down and taken out back by Thomas HD, and all of a sudden now Thomas has all the extra refreshes here, but he's starting to run out. Is he going to go for low ground, or is he going to continue to hold out here? Reason has a decision to make as well. Off to the side he goes. This player's in front. Cold is down. We saw that exchange. It's a big one.
Yep, he's He's just trying to stay alive. Reason's doing a good job staying
お
ahead
先
of the
端
zone.
取れてるの強い
Now
な
he just has to mend stuff to find a way to stabilize.
おザコ倒してますね
He's trying to stagger himself towards the backside of zone, running out of sticks onto that mendment. A huge
誰終わっ
shot's
た
gonna be fired. Thomas HD is trying to stay alive, but he goes down. Zagu from Asia strikes again.
It's just not enough.
ミリも落ちたのちょっと痛いな
Play and put some respect on us. Sentin is gonna fall to EU.
さあ順位上がってってるよどんどん
By himself, Chrome Splash comes out. He finds his teammate. Does he get the
おっとミリもわずか蘇生できちゃう
in the ultimate low? Could change the entire story.
This could be huge for Asia. This could be huge for Zagu and Miram. But Joe and Ciani, they
いや諦めたねこれ
he wasn't able to get the revive off. This is gonna be huge. He's the only solo left in the world.
いやどういうキャラコン
No, but he knows that's enemy build. He goes up, the side jump. He has enough. He takes high ground, but no.
いや
He's here to back up. He goes for the falling shot. Doesn't quite find it. Chimp and Scram. Heal this going down, and they are having the opportunity here, but no. Chimp does not take advantage. He is now by himself. He is
ザゴきついな
He find a seal of points here. He's looking for it. Zagu jumps to the ultimate low. Chimp's trying to time his exit, and he gets caught out.
お
And
ー
down he goes. The end.
2位まで伸び
And
た
Joe now have 8 eliminations and a win set up potentially in front of him.
Yeah, 2v1 situation. EU versus Asia. And for Zagu, this man has the world on his shoulders.
ザゴ強い
A little bit of shield, and it's not going to be enough.
いやまあでもこれは仕方がない
EU claps back once again and takes game 3 with the big win finish there. But what a performance for Zagu and Marine to show up. That is an incredible way for them to go ahead and make a statement today.
Yeah, incredible indeed, because it's all about consistency, not necessarily getting a victory royale in every single game. If they can keep this up at this pace, it'll do wonders. But for EU, Joe and Z Andy, they take the game and they have all the momentum now.
And this is what I love about in-person events, because they get to take that walk straight to center stage, and we actually get to hear from the competitors.
でも
What a treat for us to really dive
これで結構アジア勢も海外に通用するってのが分かったね
makes them tick and how they find the success. Kill it, Kelly, please give us the update.
Our game 3, I believe.
Started closing. It was 5th zone, I believe it was. They had 3 eliminations. They sorted out their Storm Surge early on. They got the materials, and they were able to take high ground so effectively. I like the way they played it too, Takara. They were
Okay, the first 3 games. First game I did dumb mistake, and yeah, we need to fix it.
Gotcha. And I think when it comes down to this competition as well, playing against the rest of the world, there is a pressure, but there are still 9 games on the main stage.
It's actually me, Vivo. Some of the players behind the games are prioritize some of these tags before they're even that early game. Now, to the north of them, over here, they are set on Storm Surge. Still be up there, and they get this nice sneaky beam in here. Huga and Miro sitting all the way back in the storm. Make sure, but the
As we come back, it's none other than Cypher PK. Everything he does. Okay.
お放送事故
That's awesome. That's awesome. How are we done?
I mean, we went into it kind of having expectations. We thought some of the maybe lesser-known players have turned up today. It's been great to see. We've seen changes in strategy, of course, as well. Some lesser-known players do well. We saw the easy changes, right? I mean, we went into it kind of having expectations. We thought, we thought these teams were going to do well. We saw the Queasy and Vino, of course, still doing very, very well. But some of the smaller regions, some of the maybe lesser-known players have turned up today. It's been great to see. We've seen changes in strategy, of course, as well. Some crazy zones that have really put these teams to the test.
It's what you love to see, though, right? In an international competition like this, teams from all over the globe, and they did not look like the leaderboard.
Turn on your mic. That was on me.
It's all good. It's all good.
Play. Welcome. How are you feeling now that everyone can
out of the water?
That's awesome.
Players like for in person, the cheering, the benefit.
I'm
長いこれさ
A little bit in tilted towers, and whoever's just on the bad end of that, I want to see some adjustments from them and see if they can like put aside their ego and just make the right play, maybe land somewhere else.
こういうトークだけでなんか2時間くらい使ってるよね絶対
right. Think Launchpad, Cinder, as
the pro-ams panic a little bit. We're playing at home.
Anything that stands.
Just think of the amount of
10. No. Looking.
If you win online for your inside brother, one of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. The
are here. We're here to contend. We didn't fly that long just to.
Coming off the heels of being the as. Thank you guys so much. Fantastic insight, just all the way around. As you can see, we've got a lot of empty chairs here. Our players, after the first 3 games, have a moment here to collect themselves, go back to the player lounge, talk amongst themselves, potential coaches there, whatever they need to do to kind of recollect and prepare for the last 3 games on the day. Now, earlier, we had a really cool moment. We got to listen on between Booga and his duo and kind of hear.
Yeah, I have like 2 builds. Together, come 3, 2, 1, go. Ready? Let's. We needed that. Let's go. I have no. 5, 150, 250. Would it be you? Say it again. Sorry. 5, 2, 5. Okay. Awesome. Go. I have 30 seconds. Come. I have no meds. Yeah, I have like 2 builds. Together, come 3, 2, 1, go. Ready? Let's. We needed that. Let's go.
In any sphere, even if you're panicking, we see a few duos you guys remember, right? We've been hyping this duo up from Japan, and for me, I'm thinking to myself, bro, this is just like a team from Japan. If there was more Japan representation, invitational, I'd be even more concerned.
Look, I don't even know if I like saying under the radar, right? Because this duo, champions of Japan, now tied for first place in one of the first international events we've had in years, right? The first we've had in years. The way they're performing, coming from the Rave Cave, there's another 2 duos surrounding them, so they don't necessarily have a free loop path that's on con. They have to be cautious, they have to be careful, but they've done that every single game and got into the late game, got in their eliminations. They are playing so well.
Yeah, you know what, Vivid earlier on the show, he said he wasn't usually impressed by a duo when he's VOD reviewing. Vivid, I hope you are impressed by these because, oh boy, are they putting on an impressive show right now. These guys, when I first looked at them, right, I was looking at them landing at the north side of Sleepy Sound.
Yeah.
Vino and Queasy decided, you know what, we're going to take control of this area. And they ran away. They went to the Rave Cave. That's where they're currently dropping. And you know what, at that point, I thought, I'm nervous. I'm nervous with this duo. Are they a little bit nervous? Are they a little bit scared going into this running away from one of the biggest teams? It's not a bad idea, of course, because seemingly it's working out.
I mean, they are just going absolutely ham. And remember, this is like, in that last game, we saw Meram go down, right? And in that game specifically, Zago actually tried to go for the revive.
Yep.
In an alternate universe, there's a universe where Meram was revived, and they 100% go on to win that game. So we'll have to keep an eye on this duo. Is there another duo for you guys you feel maybe might be under the radar, like truly under the radar?
Look, I don't want to say just one duo. I want to shout out both Zeke KBR and also Bachatin and Kitos. I mean, they've been playing so well, especially in this most recent game. They're getting to the late game, and not only that, they're getting in with a good amount of elims. If they keep up this consistency, I wouldn't be surprised if they maintain that spot in the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, and the latter that you mentioned, Bachatin and Kitos, those guys are doing really, really good at getting that early aggression off spawn. They're getting their Storm Surge out of the way because, of course, they're landing at a central POI, that sort of red bridge just to the left.
もうなんて言ってるのか分かりません。
Doing a really, really good job at getting the surge. Central with some aggression.
Game 1, right? A lot of these corrected. What might be a couple of the changes? Like, at my POI, let's do this. Let's go.
Look, speaking of games, I believe it was taken out as well. You know, leaving it behind.
Break now, right? And all the first 3 games, really looking at that time.
Like, let's just calm our nerves down.
Yep.
Like, happens. We just need to contain ourselves.
この人髪すごっ。すごく整ってる。なんか、なんだっけ、桜レンブだっけ、なんだっけあれ、ピンクの食べ物、あれみたい髪が。
They just had one off-spawn bad fight, and they need to correct it.
Right, I mean, if you're going to have a bad off-spawn fight, or even a bad match, the best time to have that bad match is right before the break, right? Because you get the time to stay calm, stay collected, refresh your mind, get a bit of water, get...
North zone in that previous South, Joe and Zian, and you sound, and it wasn't necessarily the zone quickly as well. We saw a very, very north that landed all the way on the south.
ポイント同じじゃん。
Changes. They're going to be
キル数で負けてんのか。
on some of the regions that we have.
All these duos are back at it. Just look at this there.
Look, we've seen a lot of
ビ
victory
クロイ
royales
で
come
キ
from
ル
the
の
clouds, right?
順
From
位だった。
above. I want to see people down in the dirt, fighting back and showing what they're made of, right?
Do that. This duo, we're usually seeing them playing their materials, riding just on that edge of very, very calmly, if you like, which is game 1. that from them. Hopefully this halftime break.
Yeah. I think what's interesting too is I've seen a couple duos now. It's like, hey, you look over, they got like 5 elims, but they still don't have what it takes, right? They're out of ammo. They have no heals. They have no builds. Why is that? If we're capable of finding 5 eliminations on a stage like this at calibers like this, what are we lacking?
There's so many types of engagements that you can encounter during a match, right? It could be early game engagements that staggered out and lasted a long time. We have Merstash and Malibuka going against Tayson and Chapix. I mean, those 2 duos alone are literally titans of their own region, and having them go head to head, those engagements can last a little while. And if it takes a long time to finish an engagement, you lose a lot of materials, you lose resources, you lose shields. Yep. And even if you end up coming out on top from that engagement, you've already used everything, and it's difficult to come back from that.
And of course, I mean, look at the lobby, right? Let's just take a look at it, because everyone in this lobby is incredible. They're not going up against the likes of me and you. They're coming up against some solid players, and they're proving.
Yeah, I'm a walking 50 shield refresh. Don't even worry about me.
I can back.
We do have Adam and Kelly standing by, friends. Over to you.
Thank you. Sure that our players had a break between games 3 and 4, get some food, get some drinks, and now they are ready to go.
All right, we have got ourselves a game 4 imminently, but we need the entire world right now to hear us, North Carolina. Let us hear you make some noise. Let them hear you in Japan, in Greenham. Let them hear you in Mars. We are here.
We are ready, everyone. Let's go to game number 4.
Now that's what we like to see. Let's go ahead and just pick things up and get right to it. Game 4 is underway. The players are already landed off the battle bus. If you were walking around, take a seat, because it's time to get into the action.
And it's already looking like Kanata trying to get busy. Taking down Vortexers for the first elimination of the game. Ascented trying to put shots on into the distance. It does look like Cole got a knock on the cars. The angles and the pressure is already coming out. These guys have been battling all weekend long for that contested drop spot in the middle islands. And with Pars dropping, Raze has the world of pressure on his shoulder in this game.
And it's so crazy, because we didn't think they were going to be able to do it.
Nope.
Get past this, what feels like crazy hurdle. Being contested on an in-person event should honestly cross you out of the equation here, but not for these competitors. They don't let that little inconvenience stop them. If anything, they weaponize it. They've turned it into surge time.
こう3試合目まで行って、ザゴーミリムが2位にいるのすごいな、本当。
Yep, this is huge. You got Thomas HD and Tripper, Commandment and Avery all landing towards the Rave Cave. Luckily enough, this is one of the biggest POIs with a ton of loot to go around. And you're kind of seeing not too many early game fights going down over there. As Kitos and PH Zin trying to have that early game that they want, because for them, they've been doing so consistent lately out of this drop spot. Not too much contesting going by. And for their Storm Surge, they have so many players around them so they can gather it.
Now, what's crazy is that the story of Brazil is W key, but not for them. They've made all their points through placement. They actually have some of the lowest eliminations overall. When you stand them against the others inside the top 5, they're actually at the lower spectrum. But Vico and Marine here starting to get into some dangerous territory. You can see the reality tree is no free position by any means. You have Retake and crew up above, Z-Andy and Joe, who have just taken home a huge moment and win for themselves, are now poised up at the Synapse Station just south of Bugamiro.
Yeah, and right now, even though they have uncontested drop, it almost makes me wonder, with the zone kind of being towards the northeast portion. I was going to say exactly this, what Grim Gable looks like for Larson and Smite, who actually did win that off-spawn exchange last game against Buzz and Looter, trying to have that repeat success here in this game. But right now, they're just kind of taking their time. They're high up on the mountain, so they got to be careful for those third-party attempts to come through.
Now, Buzz and Looter are playing potentially spoiler here outside the Grim Gables, because we have this Larson and Smite duo who have fought their way on up to 7th. And again, elims are the name of the game for Larson and Smite, but this is where they have built their reputation, fighting in the early game,
managing to get so much experience being contested season after season. It started way back north where Vino and Queasy are, but hold up. Larson finds one, the trade is good, and Smite gets the other, and down goes
ゴリ押したね。
and Looter.
That was a fantastic play by Larson, reading him like a book. He turned the page and got an elimination as Mr. Savage strikes again. On one goes down. Baka has to go ahead and figure out what to do next as iDrop's trying to get those angles. Right now, they're just trying to alleviate the pressure, but the Brazilian duo that you're talking about, King and Mr. Savage, they're looming in the distance, waiting for that perfect moment to strike.
And that's right. This is such a huge opportunity. Now remember, they land just west of the Chrome Jam Junction. For them to come in, sweep things up, could change the story around. There it is. They open up with a couple tags, but iDrop gets to the loot first. He's got the refresh. He's got a little more material, and you have to assume King and Ed are just a little bit more positioned and ready for this, but a good defense, a good bluff is all you need here to back them off, and it is going to be enough. King and Ed don't get to show us what they're made of in a clean 2v2.
Another team's kind of floating in towards Chrome Jam. That is the Asian powerhouse. But over here, towards the islands, towards Mighty Monument, you have the FNCS NA West champions trying to have that repeat performance in game number 1. That's Basil, that's Chase that are under pressure. High ground is seemingly right now cemented to the PSG TNA duo.
Now Yumi is very solid. Cool's gonna find Jason the feed there. It's up to Basil by himself. Basil has no teammate to work with here, and he is trapped inside this stone build here. This is a very tough tower to play out of. Awkward positions to build, and the terrain gets extremely weird. He does drop a few layers, but there's only 2 exits, and one of them's cut off by tons of enemy territory. So look at this. He goes out the back with the windows there, and that is that game knowledge kicking in there. Yumi and Core looking so solid. This is what they do on a day-to-day basis, isn't it, Jacob?
Yep, this is exactly what they came to do here with that stunning performance last season. Even though it was a 2-day competition, they ran away with it on day 1, and when push came to shove, they held on to it in day 2 to take home that crown. But you can kind of see the Brazilian duo slowing things down just a little bit. They thought it was going to be an easy third party on a Mr. Savage and Baka and on one, but it wasn't as easy as we thought.
Definitely, and of course, plenty of highlights as well. Let's get caught up with how this unplayed and unfolded. So On1 just gets snuck up on there. You saw all the Chrome builds. He says, no, I'm not going through that. We're going to go and take the easy path here.
But that's exactly what iDrop was kind of talking about. He said, I've been dropping here for 12 months.
Right.
I'm ready to fight. I'm not splitting loot. I came to take what's mine. And he does it game after game after game. If they can keep up this type of consistency, mix that with an opportunity to take the end game, this is a recipe for a duo that can catch fire at any moment. Because you got to remember, one of the last in-person events that we had, not the last one, but one of the last, Mr. Savage took it out on top. You had Bizzle in second, and the placements down far after.
That's right, but look at this. Seti and Cammy going to the old trusty right on top of this air blimp. This is what you expect. This is a huge double-edged sword here where you expose yourself, but you just open up the entire terrain before you. As we jump on over to Kitos and PH in here, looking absolutely phenomenal. They have more eliminations against players inside the top 10 than any other duo, just showing us exactly what they are capable and made of.
This is literally the story of them on their region as well. They consistently take out teams at the top, and that is perfect preparation for a lot of this. You just gotta think the Brazil region, they're fighters. They love to fight, and right now they're playing against the best, and it's working out.
多分キーホストは俺の多分クランの人に頼めばいけるとは思うけど。
The last time we went to Shiny, it didn't quite work out for Vino and Queasy, but what we did see was that they were so just suited for a big game. And now that we know that, it should be the same story. But let's get on over to Lustrous Lagoon here. It's crazy to me how Runa and Peppo have demanded so much respect from this entire regional competition that no one has decided to contest them here at the Lagoon. We've known in seasons past, this is a hot spot.
Yeah, and I love how they're playing. They know exactly what happens to any team in Lustrous Lagoon if they have it uncontested. You take too long to loot, these other team on the outskirts will begin to climb up onto that mountain and put the shots down.
元なんだったっけ?
Chimp and Scram there. They don't want to let anything go easy in a lobby like this, but Chimp. You can kind of see him crouching down, biding his time, trying to minimize the audio that he does give out, reuniting with Scram, trying to get that elevation in, but no opportunity is going to be given up by Runa and Peppo.
Love the focus that we're seeing from Chimp right now as he is starting to line up Runa and Peppo here. Not afraid of taking a fight, but also playing extremely smart. He does have the slight disadvantage, but Runa swings the thing around there. He says, hold up. Might just go up for high ground. Meanwhile, Queasy looking for tags here in the distance. So there is all types of battles starting to shape up and potentially heat out right now. And remember, this is all in loom of potential Storm Surge, right?
Scram, Chimp, still in that high ground fight. The thing is, they're in zone. Every team that landed south is going to come here on this side. This is going to be the most congested side of the map, Monster. They have to be careful. They got to start looking to end this fight quick, whether it's taking the actual fight or just trying to disengage.
Zagu doesn't stop, though. He finds Falconer in the feed there while this fight is raging on here. Chimp still looking around, just saying, hey, Scram, I trust you. Do your thing. Take that toe-to-toe. Keep them busy. Meanwhile, Chimp's like, I'll look for tags in the distance, make sure no one sneaks up. The confidence to trust in Scram to play by himself here.
Yeah, Zagu, the team from Asia. You see Hellfire and Falconer in the distance. The shots just coming in.
Gosh.
You can see how he went down. He had no choice but to go forward. Storm was going to eat him alive. And I think that's still Queasy and Vino on top of the blimp, lending that helping hand inadvertently.
And then they just W key straight across as well. They're like, you're not going to get that save whether you want to or not. We're here to fight, and we're going to make sure we solidify the elim. That will effectively allow them to take first place, breaking the tie.
おお、ザゴメリムが今は1位になったね。
And this is going to become a matter of who can survive the longest and play the best, of course. So this is still a moment, and big decision to make. Chrome splashes a launch pad. It looks like they drop him.
一応聞いては見てる。
I'm trusting in their gut. It doesn't matter what I want. They got the launch pad. I want the launch pad too.
Go ahead. Actually does give you options. Short pad. You can do the high pad. You can go ahead and try to take high ground if you're able to hold on it towards the end game. And this is going to be the first instance of Storm Surge in game number 4 that we're going to see. All day long, we've seen teams not necessarily manage it the best, and that being the sole focus of why they get down. But game number 3, Victory Royale winners, Joe and Ziandy, 58 below the damage threshold and continuously falling.
Now, they did win a game, but that's not enough to stay in. You have to continue to perform, and maybe, just maybe, that long-awaited break has allowed other teams to figure it out. Hit that drawing board. They're slowly slipping down now. 91 below here, but the longer they wait, the more likely enemies are to set up. So they have to get going. Off to the air vent they go. Can they get there in time? He misses it just slightly, but Joe fights back. And he doesn't miss. How quick was the setup there? Nicely done. That little bit of defense is something, sometimes all you need to go in and buy you some time.
But they're still 46 below the damage threshold. They have a lot more room to cover as well, but luckily for them, they have the Chili Chug Splash. They have the Mighty Monument.
Oh no!
Can he be
Miriam.
one up and get the spoils after that falls all together? Moraine and Vico really trying to show up this game, and you talked about it during that break.
ザコはまだ生きてるのこれに関しては。
The top of the leaderboard actually is.
And it looks like they were waiting around just a little too long. They try to bait out the vault, and instead they get punished. And now
ザコも死ぬ。いやザコも生きてるのか。
himself the shield bubble is going to buy him some time, but it's only a matter of time. If he stays there, yes, they're just going to 2v1 him. He goes up for high ground, and he's trying to get on out of here. Vico and Moraine decide better. They say, all right, I'm okay with that. With Swag and Pablo here, let's just get to the new storm. Let's get safe, and that's what they do first. But it is not looking good for our first place team now.
Yeah, so many teams just barely on the threshold, either above or below, as Runa and Peppo trying to keep things going. They are 244 below the damage threshold, going up against Pink and Anas, who've also had their own struggles when it comes to Storm Surge. This could be a good fight for both of them. A huge shot coming out of Peppo. Pink and Anas, they have their backs up against the wall, trying to get out alive, but the backfire comes through. Vidil gets an elimination as well. Everybody in this fight is under siege. Pink, with his back up against the wall, takes them both down.
And EU takes down Asia in a 2v2 head-to-head with no interference in the distance. Chapix cleans things up onto Z, Andy, and Joe are Game 3 winners, and now Chapix and Tayson continue to play upset. Let's just take a look at the highlight. How did it all go down? He walks up. Man, this is why Chapfix is so good. This is what he did in the World Cup. This is what he's doing here now. And, ooh, you can see the pain. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that's definitely tough here. But luckily for them, they did get that victory royale. They're at the top side of the leaderboard. One bad game does not decide your future. As Queasy and Vino under siege yet again. Just a sliver of HP. Storm Surge doing its wonders, but they have 10 splashes. But Vino has to try to get him out. That means Queasy has to alleviate some of the pressure with the builds. But shots coming in from the distance. Luckily for them, it's another team that is struggling to surge. Not the sole focus of the lobby just yet.
Now this is insane. First place has already lost a teammate. Now Vino and Queasy were in second. Just points behind are so hurt here, and the surge is continuing. They will have to take this fight. That's not an easy duo, and that one isn't either. This is looking very, very tough now for Queasy and Vino.
As Merrim gets knocked down again to Edgy. They're just going through it this game. We talk about consistency being the key. 44 below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery become the targets to Queasy and Vino, but how long can they last? Just only a few ticks away. The short pad coming through. They get the damage, but is it going to be enough to go above the damage threshold? Yo, it is not, but it is finally at the tail end. Barely going to be enough. Launchpad going out. They're going to live, Monster, to fight another day.
How did Queasy survive that with 1 HP, and now he gets to fight back just a little bit here? Can he find anything? Was there something left behind?
10秒間持てばいける。
This is their landing spot. This is their home territory, and they're just gonna go ahead and look for scraps now. And just like that, they knew what they left behind, and they are gonna be back in this game in no time.
Some of the biggest brains in Fortnite to kind of remember something like that. That is outside of the box thinking, but the Storm Surge has not left them just yet. 49 still below the damage threshold. Commandment and Avery, I don't know how they made it out alive either, but they're still doing a good job this time around. 187 above the damage threshold. Let's see what they can do when it's not going to be a worry.
Let's not forget, these are our previous NA East champions, but hold up, Vino says we need some E-Lins, but no, he gets taken out, and Queasy, it's up to him, and he falls too.
Diaper.
All of a sudden, Vino and Queasy are down, and Zagu is there to play in the mess here. He is putting his own two thoughts into the battle. He has not given up, and this is an opportunity now. He is so hurt there off to the side, and now he turns and burns. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you, Avery. I'm gonna leave it to you, Commandment. You guys can have it, but it's Savage and iDrop who get all the loot.
Yeah, and that's huge for the loot for Savage and iDrop, because now they can kind of pick and choose. You see, he still has some bandages there, so he's trying to look for something else to maybe trade it off. But with 2 launch pads, the zone right now is not going to be a worry at all, especially since Commandment and Avery are already making their rotation outward. But another team landing towards Cloudy combos, Malibuka and Mustache.
So let's think about this, right? Third place is out. Joe and Z-Andy are out. That's going to allow things to get really competitive at the top. But now that we see Queasy and Vino crossed out as well, it is that much closer here. Let's take a look at these quick highlights here. How are they so far ahead of the Surge? Well, there you go. You ask and you receive. Jamper just gets clotheslined without any notice.
It almost looks like they were thinking the same thing. Let me knock on this door, take this piece away, but Jamper was just a little bit too slow to the punch. Throws Rifty, trying to fly high through the sky. Tripper and Thomas, it's like target practice for them as Macwood does go down to Hydro. And there goes the leaderboard, 5th through 9th. Look how stacked it is. Only 8 points separating those teams.
And remember, Joe and Z-Andy are down and out.
Oh, Zago.
Jump back into the game here.
Impressive.
46 damage above the Surge. All he has to do is out-survive 2 players, and you would think it would not be possible, but he has found his way back into this game here, and he is still getting that much more lucky. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of luck, and look at the heals come back to reward him here. He's gonna hold on and continue to earn. Seti and Cammy have an opportunity to go ahead and close this gap. They lost out on it at the last game, falling short. But as we know, they're slow, they're steady.
Yeah, for them, it's not just chasing after eliminations. They're not forcing any of these plays. Like you said, slow and steady wins the race. And for them, they let these opportunities naturally present itself while gathering all the information in the lobby. They know exactly what to do as long as they're not playing with their backs up against the wall. Clicks and Duke, another highly skilled team, 353 above the damage threshold. They already have an elimination. For them, it's just making it to the end game itself.
And it's crazy to show the disparity, the point difference between Clicks and Duke there, and first place, 47 points separate, 20th from first. It shows you that's about a 2-game spread. You have to play very, very well, but it also shows you one big win, and you're inside the top 10 undoubtedly. You are very much right back into this game if you can just get one.
Yeah, mindset and handling this pressure is going to be huge because it's easy. You know, 12 games, being in a stage like this, you go down early, it starts to sink in that doubt. It's easy to believe in that doubt, but right now, you guys are the best of the best on that stage. You need to snap yourselves out of it and really pick it back up because this is game 4 out of 12. You have every chance in the world to make a comeback.
Ju and Yusra have been contested on the drop to the hands of OCE, Alex and Bailey. We have seen what they have managed to do all day. They are an exceptional duo. And finally now, Yusri and Ju get to show us what they are made of. They are playing for high ground, but they're below the surge. They're going to have to take a box fight. The wall's his, but not quick enough on the edit there. And instead, he backs off. What do you do in this situation? Do you look around or take a box fight is the question. And Ju says, hold that thought. Let me go ahead and get these tags real quick.
Don't worry, Monster. I got you. You ask a question, I'll definitely give you an answer in a moment. 48 above the damage threshold. They know their job is not done just yet, but they can at least slow things down, start to gather the information like a lot of these other teams are going to be needing. But with them having the high ground, if they pull zone, they're going to be in the perfect position to terrorize the rest of the lobby. Oof.
Smite and
Nobody
Larson
gets it.
Smite and Larson still alive here. They came in 7th place. 3 elims added on to where they left off. Now effectively has to jump them on up for a fight for top 3, potentially first as well. I have a question though. Is Zagu still alive? Is he somehow snaking his way around the game? We're gonna have to find out. Sensitive and Cold, often an end game. That consistency paying off right now as we know it should. Sensitive and Cold are just proving that they are so good at Fortnite, no matter what the setting is, online or in person.
And the team, after that first game, is finally finding their rhythm. 251 above the damage threshold. 3 eliminations so far. 3 Chili's truck splashes onto Merstash. So you got to imagine on the other side, probably having some rotation as well. But Scented and Cold right now trying to find a way to stabilize. 29 below the damage threshold. Luckily for them, though, that's not too much. That's one good shot, but the same thing happens to them. They're under pressure. 19 HP, trying to get the splashes off, but now Zone is ticking them out. Cold goes down. It's all to Scented.
And it looks like Acorn and Edgy were just waiting for that wall to open up, and there it is. Acorn is the one who finds Cold, and Scented is now left to do it by himself, but he has been here before. That is where he feels most comfortable. Meanwhile, Pink and Enough, they have so much catching up to do. They have already picked up 5 elims. This is exactly the type of pacing they want to be on coming into an end game. But Cammy and Seti are here in the mid-ground. PH and Kitos are there as well. This is one of the most dangerous layers that we have seen, and it's players who are fighting to get that #1 spot.
Oh, it's Scented. He was able to take down Thor, but he needs that siphon to come through, and it goes in just in the nick of time. Trying to stay alive. Chili Chug Splash to try to go ahead and gain the speed to get to the outside of zone. Somehow Anas is down. You got to thank Commandment and Avery for that one. So now Pink is left as a solo. What can he do with only 3 builds to his name?
And they take high ground again in this game here. 4 elims now. Things are really starting to get interesting for NAEs. Avery says, come down. Let's go to the low ground and wait for him to start taking the lead here. Now, usually we call Commandment the Mr. Clutch, and Commandment says, trust in me. I have this high ground on lock. Meet me at the top.
Yep, for one of the most insane end game finishes for the FNCS Chapter 3 Season 3 Championship. They're looking to do it here again in this game as Malapuka's by himself. He ends up into the box, takes another player out, a huge siphon and refresh to come through just in the nick of time. That was Ed from Brazil who went down, but he's doing a good job. Malapuka immediately beelining to the front side of zone.
And back to Pink here. Look at Pink's perspective. He's on that low with 7 elims. He has not stopped picking up. Malapuka continues to fight though. Use Mystery is gonna fall there, and a quick elim. Someone's behind him though. Now he turns around, and it's just enemy territory everywhere. Which way are you gonna go, son? That's the zone. Larson and Smite are still alive. This is where they do the most work, but no, it's not enough. They get wiped up and taken out.
Shot missed. Duke clicks, take advantage in the blink of an eye. Another end game. They're trying to move up to the top leaderboards as Thomas HD goes down. Trippin feeling the pressure as a solo here. Changing elevation. That was a huge play because look how many teams are stuck down low towards the low ground. But now he has to meet him down there as Commandment Avery begin to put on the pressure. Malabuka, 4 eliminations as a solo. 6 as a team. The damage continues and he's putting on a show.
He doesn't stop. Down goes Rifty. 5 eels. Can he get another? No, it's not enough. Tripper fights back. He's got it in him. And now, look at
盛り上がりすげえ。
BL and Edgy from the storm. BL is still in this. It's Seti who's representing on this low ground. Another huge consistent game for Seti is everything here.
I think there's 5 duos left, and about maybe 3 of them are full duos right now, and Savage loses another one. He's a solo. He's trying to take down the NA West team. He takes down Yumi. Huge siphon coming through. Mr. Savage does it again and gets into the top 4.
You have to love the move in here.
Oh my God.
Another one. He does not stop. Seti might just be
お、
next.
盛り上がりすげえ。
Fire. Let's see it. High ground is still NA East. 1v1v2. Commandment and Avery have everything working for them as Savage is looking to do so much work. But Seti says, hold up, I could find a chance here. He needs to pick and choose this wisely. Do you go for 2 elims on the low ground or a chance at first? And down goes Savage. Seti knows better. And it's a great game for Commandment and Avery.
A huge victory royale and a huge boost for the NA East champions of Chapter 3, Season 3. Commandment and Avery switched up their games after halftime, and it pays off big.
And that's why you have to love that little moment where the players get to hit the drawing board. Look at that smile on Commandment. You love to see it as they have managed to put up a huge win and represent. And again, the story goes now. 2 for EU, 2 wins for NA East. It's just back and forth, showing us how close the competition really is.
And you're seeing the polar opposite of what happens to some of these teams. But let's go ahead and listen to them as Kelly is going to dig deep to figure out how they did it.
Thank you so much, Jacob.
俺
Clearly, you guys
一
have
瞬
made
でフライ入
a
ってくる
great
わ。
change. What exactly have you done differently in Game 4?
We just looked for height way more than like game 1, 2, 3, and like we just landed on it and like won the game. Bro. I don't know.
So is that going to be the strategy for the next game?
When it's free like that, we're definitely gonna be on higher ground.
I mean, you obviously seem to be feeling great right now, man. What's going through your mind?
I don't even know, bro. My hands are tingling.
That is awesome. Everyone make some noise for Commandment and Avery. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for checking in with our Victory Royale winners from game number 4, Commandment and Avery. And I'm so thankful they kind of had that moment to be like, yo, my hands are shaking, right? Like, that's what's going on. This pressure is unlike anything. And the moment that these guys start to pop off, you could hear the crowd going absolutely ham. Because this is what we want to see, right? This game was like way more aggressive than anything else we've seen.
It's what you love to see, right? Malabuka popping off like a solo. Mr. Savage popping off like a solo. Pink in 6 zone with 5 elims. But then Avery and Commandment taking it from above, taking the high ground and finishing it off with a nice little VR. Look, we just had halftime. They had a little break. I don't even think they changed up their strategy a lot, but just that little moment of time to reflect and get back into the game, it's changed a lot.
And you saw that right there, the refresh from Commandment, that was so crucial in them holding the high ground out at the end. I had a little look, Commandment had 200 wood when they were on high ground in a second moving zone. It wasn't going to be enough. That was a crucial refresh from Commandment, and that is ultimately what got them the victory, right? They were able to take the high ground and spray down below right at the perfect time as well. Look at the standings.
Oh, man, and you know what's crazy too? Cammy and Seti, we saw Seti make top 3 there, right? And even though he was a solo, he held on. But really quickly, Adam, I think you want to talk about something. What you got, friend?
I got so much for you guys right now. I'm joined by the almighty Clicks and Duke, everyone! We're working so hard over here right now. Duke's hand warmer has exploded in his hand because he's working that hard. Duke, currently you guys are sat, I think, in 13th place, 82 points. After 4 games, how's it been being out there amongst the rest of the competitors?
I'm feeling good playing with the loot that we have. We're doing really well we're leaving off spawn with like 2 minis max, maybe like a big pot, and we're still doing good. I'm feeling good right now.
You're doing fantastic. I mean, Clicks as well. Prior to this competition, you almost partnered with Pink, who was, obviously is dropping in the same area for Jonesy as you guys. How's it being testing yourselves against them each POI and each drop?
It sucks. Like what Duke said, we're leaving terrible loot, and we always have to come back. But good luck to them. And it's pretty close right now. But
it is only 20 points at the top, I think.
Yeah, it's like 10. We're 10 points between each other.
Okay.
But good luck to them.
Looking good. I love that. Great sportsmanship there. Big up for Clicks and Duke, everyone. And heading down this way to, coming over to Pink and Anas. What's up, Pink? How are we? I couldn't miss you with the hair. Looks great. How's the competition been thus far as well for you guys?
Anas is playing good, and he's just following me, and I'm playing good. So far, it's good.
Lots of good. That's good. And Anas as well, partnering with Pink in this competition. We just asked Clicks the question as well. For Jonesy, both dropping in the same POI. How have you managed to manage it thus far?
Yeah, I think we're playing pretty well. It's some minor mistakes that we make that make us die, but like overall, it's pretty good.
But you've still got plenty of time to change things up.
Yeah,
Yes?
I think we're gonna keep adapting and just do what it takes.
I think in this competition you have to adapt, being all the regions combined in one lobby. So big up for Anas and Pink, everybody! Let's head back over to Zeke and the gang.
Thank you so much, Adam, and fantastic just to hear from these players. I love this setting, right? We can literally just go, I want to know what those players are thinking. Let's walk up, let's ask a couple questions, and kind of see them. You can even tell, like, they're still pretty focused, right? Like, of course they're going to answer Adam's questions, but there is definitely like a level of resolve right there where they're like, look, I just want to get in this next game. I want to get the run back.
Look, I want to speak a little bit on our current first place duo, Seti and Cammy, right? We normally see them XL in day 2, but now they're popping off in day 1, 120 points. They're showing their consistency, but I just really hope that they can keep it up.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this duo, right? We saw them in the mid-ground layers that time, and usually we do see them there, but a little bit higher up than usual, and that's what they've been doing this season. They've been switching up their playstyle, which hasn't worked out too well for them in the past. They're traditionally low ground, very, very calm, very, very passive, if you like, in the early stage of the game. They're just riding on the surge, of course, that I mentioned earlier, but they are really trying to change things up, and you could see it didn't quite work out. Of course, Cammy going down early. So you know what Seti thought? He thought, you know what? I'm just going to go back to basics, back down to low ground. We've seen him solo clutching so many times, and oh boy, was he doing it again. Absolutely crazy scenes.
I mean, they always put on a show, right? Seti and Cammy, they're well known. They've accomplished so much, and now, if today and tomorrow combined, they can keep it up. They can take home a title, an international title. It would be something that I'd love to see, but them having secured the VR game 1 from height was surprising, and now seeing them keep up the consistency is not as surprising. We know how strong they are, but we're only 4 games in. There's still so much more to be played out.
That's right, man. 2 games left on the day. And remember, this is kind of setting the pace, because we're back tomorrow for another 6 games, and we're going to walk away winners. But it is that time. We are ready for game number 5 here from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is the FNCS Invitational. Thank you so very much, Zeke. There we get to kick things back off one more time. It's Monster D-Face and Jacob PR calling all the action here. What a set of games we have had so far.
Yeah, this is nothing short than entertainment at its finest.
That's right.
I feel like a gladiator calling all the action in an arena. This has just been dreams come true. But right now, game number 5 is about to be underway, and this is where some dreams could become nightmares.
Hopefully no one's dreams get crushed here, but it is inevitable. At the end, you have to step up. You have to perform. And we've seen so many great performances already, especially when it comes down to this Becoming Legends duo of Cammy and Seti. Wait for them to represent not only for Poland, but the organization. I know my boy Reno is proud sitting back right now as these players are competing at the best of their capabilities. But once again, this northern bus shows us there's going to be trouble for Savage and iDrop here, or Baka and On1.
Yeah, I want to see Baka and On1 kind of really either do one of 2 things. Be the aggressors first, or just kind of get what they got out of their loot and try to get out. Because right now, it just seemingly time and time again, Mr. Savage and iDrop have that high ground, but waste no time. Muzz and Looter getting busy, putting damage onto Larson before he can even touch the ground. Baka does it. He does it over towards Chrome Jam. He gets the double and takes down Mr. Savage and iDrop.
Man, oh man, there are big stories developing now. Green Gables will have a fight soon here. Looter and Muzz have a chance at redemption, but the story has been told for the Chrome Jam Junction. We get to close that book out for now. Meanwhile, don't forget, Kondo has the battles there too. Let's take a look here. This is how they go for high ground. He beats them to the drop. Whoa! Best Savage turns and burns on iDrop. What an incredible 2v1 representing for NA West. You didn't think it was possible, but they're putting it up. That's 2 for 2.
And another action going down very early yet again. Cloudy Condos, we haven't seen too much of it right out of the gates, but Chapix is down. Aqua was able to get the knock, and they're hunting. They're hunting for Tayson right now.
Let's see it. Cloudy Condos is a tough spot to fight, especially at the southern area. The southern area is more often taken by a singular team of Reason and Aqua, but Malabuka and Murstache got a little lucky here as Tayson tries to steal in and sneak away some loot. But you see the knock body there. No save just yet. They're going to leave him behind. They're baiting it. They want Tayson to try to go for Chapix here. Aqua gets punished, though. And now, little lesson learned, he slows down.
This is fabulous for Malabuka and Murstache, though, because now they have options. They can loot up, they can get the resources, everything that they want, and more as Aqua gets knocked, but Tayson gets taken out. Chapix and Tayson are the second team. EU are the only 2 teams down out of this game so far, but if you look at the leaderboard, Seti and Cammy sitting strong in first, Thomas and Trippin close by, but now Malabuka and Murstache, knowing that that fight just ended, they can either go right away and try to clean it up, or they can continue doing what they're doing, loot up and try to get out, but we know how aggressive this team is going to be, and I think it's going to be the first choice.
Let's see it. There's still a chance. There's still time left in the ticker here, but things are not looking too hot. Let's jump on over to Larson and Smite. Larson and Smite, Grim Gables. This is now, again, the second time we get to catch it real early where they have this slight advantage. The last time it was Looter who fell first, and then left it all up to Muzz. It's looking like this might be the same story once again. Looter and Muzz, notably not that successful in early game battles versus Larson and Smite as a comparison who have such better odds just historically. And so far, it's been just like that.
Yeah, that was a huge shot landed by Muzz, but in that 2v1 situation, it's easy to kind of stabilize yourself, heal up, and now Muzz is just trying to get out. He's trying to survive, and it's going to be up to Larson and Smite to kind of let him. Do you let him survive? Do you continue to chase? And right now, they are hot on his heels. They don't want to let these 2 points. They don't want to let that refresh. They don't want to let the elimination slip through, and right now, it is not, but that was an explosive ending. That fun almost makes magic happen.
Smite says, you want a show? I'll give you a show. Hold this pickaxe. And down goes Muzz. What a way to really assert yourself here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Vico and Marine push up on retake a novice here inside the box. Vico with a quick finish and then steps over to the side. He 2v1s at the reality tree as well. And oh, the punishment there, that's tough, but it happens.
Yep, and the fights, they continue all around. Pink and Anas, they're trying to do it yet again, but it's not Clicks, it's not Dukes, it's Peterbot and Jamper this time around.
What are they doing
And
here?
they're ready to fight. They're ready to take it to them. And this is what happens when teams go the last couple of games struggling to Storm Surge on an uncontested drop. They're trying to get active. They're trying to find what damage they can gather. And for Peterbot and Jamper, it does look like they bit off a little bit more than they could chew because Pink and Anas have every single advantageous position right now.
Yeah, but Peterbot, Jamper already picking up big end games. They know how to navigate these early game situations, and more importantly, Peterbot is just gross when it comes down to head-to-head. That is not a player you can sleep on by any means, and Jamper is a veteran. He does not get the credit he deserves. He has put in so much work for years now on the NA East region, and he always seems to fly under that radar. What more can do? And this is a respectable disengage, right? They come on in and say, oh, look, these guys are healthy. I don't know where's Clicks and Duke maybe. You know, let's get out of here.
Yep, and now you can see Rob, Bob, Kabam, and Wax trying to bring it over towards Chimp and Scram, towards the outskirts, and another team looming in the distance. That's Peppo and Runa. And another team coming from the Lighthouse. That could be Pamsto and Fatch. Who knows? Either way, we're going to have a house party in a couple moments.
Let's see at the breakdown, though. Looking for the chop here. It's held on by nothing, and now it starts toppling over. But there are players in the distance here, making it tough for them, ruining their plans. But down come Chimp and Scram. So, okay, there is a little development here. They do get to reset. Blind shots into the bush. Robobs is like, hold my mini shield. Let me show you what I can do. And he hits some huge tags there. Peppo and Runa, though, are looking at Chimp right now, and oh, they open fire, but no tags there.
Yeah, and you can kind of see Chimp and Scram. Chimp, you're talking about one of the most consistent players on the NA East region. He knows exactly what to do in a lot of these different situations. He's just trying to get out. He realized so many teams are here. So many teams are trying to disrupt and kind of put their hand into the mix, and that's not something they want to be a part of. But that piece control and the peaks, the shots on the defensive end are huge for Chimp and Scram, because now that put that fear into Peppa and Runa. Do we continue to fight this off? Do we continue to lose health? As it looks like they're even trying to keep their distance.
Yeah, Chimp doing an excellent job defending here, but you know, a refresh would be even better in this instance, but the pressure comes in, he loses his shield, and they are starting to run out of gas here. Robob and Wax walk up to the wall. They say, hey, Chimp, we thought we forgot about you. But no, too much pressure from Runa and Peppo, and they leave the damage to them. And they go ahead and take this as a small W. But Scram really left to defend himself here, and he's doing an excellent job.
This is going to be interesting right now, because everybody tried to disengage in a moment. But at the same time, they're so close together, there's only so much you can do. But Runa, he takes a huge amount of damage. They got to figure out a way to stabilize right here. But Chimp and Scram, they know so many teams are around. They don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They don't want to put themselves in a position they might later regret, as the shots are still coming in. Scram goes down. Chimp under siege. He's trying to figure out a way to survive. He has no fields left to his name. Rabab Kebab as well. Every single one of these players are now going to be stuck in zone.
This is crazy. Runa and Peppo start to fight back. They have the shield chug there, and it's going to allow them to go ahead and heal back up. And now they run in to the zone, hunting for Robot. Peppo's like, no, I want this fight. Robot plays the low ground. Runa comes to support, and all of a sudden he is trapped like a mouse chasing cheese, and it might just be all over here. 10 HP, moments are ticking. Runa's down, he's hurt, but Wax falls first, and Peppo gets the first elimination there for his duo.
1 HP for Runa.
Whoa.
He got the med mist to stay alive. Can they? Okay, there's another rift there. I was going to say, I thought they were going to get the rift in time, but there's another rift there. Not too much to worry about for them. But every one of those teams that were fighting there that might not be the most healthiest are still going to have to go through Pamsto and Fatch. But on board, Belusi and Hijo, they're feeling good. They got themselves a spot in his own.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a perfect time to catch up with Vivid with a mid-game analysis.
Guys, the action is popping off so much so that we missed the fight over here at Chrome Crossroads. Alex and Bailey haven't had the best of starts to the day, but game 5 here, they find these 2 early eliminations, and we know that they love to play the higher ground. We want to show you guys these reactions. They're so happy to find this as well. The dances come out. We'll have to see what type of momentum this uses for them.
Excellent. And now we jump over with PH, Zen, and Kitos, who are sitting up on high ground, you know, hands off the desk, relaxing right now, just soaking in what an exceptional day it has been for them. They have played so well, and the zone is now going their way. So for the first time, we have this zone pulling far northwest. This is the backyard of King, Ed, Merim, of course, and Zagu here. Excellent players up top.
This could be actually a recipe for success for the Asian powerhouse, the Japanese team, to kind of take a big game and take up that first place spot right back. They're right now in center zone. They have the highest elevation in the lobby, and a couple teams all around in case Storm Surge does become a problem. As Commandment and Avery over still towards Rave Cave. They have Launchpad to use. They have enough rotation. So they're going to be one of the last teams to leave the spot altogether.
And again, just excellent. Commandment and Avery
coming off a victory royale, zone pulling their way. This is a perfect recipe to take that momentum and bring it on home. So we are watching several teams now literally catch a little bit of that favor in the feed. Hellfire finds Booga, and down he goes. Trouble in Chonkers down south. That's that late zone rotate, and that is what happens when the zone pulls far north. You could do your little dead side western rotates, but at the end of the day, there are players waiting there too. It's just textbook reads.
Oh, I saw on the feed there just a few seconds ago, Queasy and Vino, they were able to get a knock onto, I think it was Miram or Zagu there for a moment. Are they going to be able to kind of run up and clean it up? I think they got the elimination altogether.
Now keep in mind, Marine coming into that last game, they were in first and second tied leading, and they have fallen to fifth. So this is a huge opportunity here.
That's where you take it into your own hands, take full control of that one. And you can see he was just out of position. You cannot be out of position in a lobby like this. That is what it's going to be a decision you regret for the rest of your life. But Miram, we see Zagu pick up a ton of points as a solo last game. Now it's Miram's turn to return the favor.
And you see what he does here. He recognizes, hey, wait a second.
That's scary.
Vito and Queasy might know I am the solo. I think I've been outed. Let me defend myself to the west and put all of my focus on Vito and Queasy so they do not sneak up. Excellent plays right there. Just smart play. We're seeing what Asia is capable of. Meanwhile, Seti, Cammy, inside the storm. This is their home territory. Dead center, more or less on the split. And now they get to hit that rotate.
PH Zen and Kitos from Brazil. We talked about them, 186 below the damage threshold, but they're a team that can pop off at a moment's notice. They have the most eliminations on players in the top 10 on 6. Look at that stat, flies up right when I'm going to read it right there. But the 189 below the damage threshold, that is so concerning for me, but it looks like Minton and Arthur are closing the distance. They might be below as well. This is between two teams, two powerhouses trying to land big shots. BH Sin loses his teammate, 2v1 situation. Arthur and Mixon trying to get into the box.
This is the first time we see PH Zin lose his teammate this early in the game. This is a huge development for him. And notice the problem is he didn't quite get to the zone early enough. And Z, Andy, and Joe capitalize on that solo opportunity. And PH Zin falls. And now they have a chance to fall down the standings here quite substantially. This is really beginning to open up and become much more interesting. And let's not forget, 5th place again is Mareem, left by himself as well. So this is the second game now too where the Japan duo is struggling here.
Yeah, and you can see outside of zone, 270 above damage threshold, and this is exactly the plays that you have to make, especially on a team that's looming into the distance. Basil in a 1v2 situation, he tries to peek and take a shot, but 2 prime shotguns are better than 1. They take him down in a blink of an eye. Baka trying to carry that momentum from the early game, but only 62 above the damage threshold. That's something that is looming in the back of their mind, and they haven't even left Chrome Jam Junction all game.
さすがに5試合目始まってるよな、オールフル入ってたら。まあでも、まだ全然終盤じゃないし、まあいいか。
We saw what Ed can do. He took out 2 of EU's finest by himself inside the storm while being pressured. Snacky returns a huge favor onto Duke there, so down he goes as Clicks managed to find a trade too. So for them, it's still a tough situation, and even worse story unfolding here as Murstache and Malibuka are being lobby focused by Clicks on the rotate now. So all around, tough spot to be in here. Murstache barely holds on and survives in, so no knock there. That could be the difference maker.
Thomas got 2 on the Hen and Vortex, not just 1. You see Babs trying to reunite with Snacky, Malibuka and Murstache also in the distance. For them, that shield keg was absolutely needed, especially since they're only 60 threshold.
Oh, but I was just going to say, soon we might have to turn our focus to Peppo and Runa. They find Clicks right above Snacky and through. Cammy and Seti put the shield bubble on the boat, and they are gone with a clean rotate right up the river. That is just a 500 head play. Look at the play right here. We absolutely love to see these crazy strategies play out, and there's a reason they are up at the top.
This is just outside of the box thinking at its finest. That is the freest rotation I think we'll see all weekend long. and they're only 85 below the damage threshold. That's not much at all.
No, they're below. They don't have heals. This is a very tough spot to be in for Cammy and Seti, as they have a true chance to once again break away with a big lead here. But they are, you know, fighting with one hand tied behind their back.
Peterbot, shields get dropped. Clown finally goes down. Huge siphon for Peterbot. Like I just said, his shield just got dropped. Now you're looking at a short pad from Revsguard, trying to make it into zone. As soon as Peterbot hears that, he might try to recycle it, but nobody wants to leave this one just yet. 195 above. Peterbot ready for any challenge. Revsguard goes up and over around each other, and it does look like this might be the moment. They got blessed. Now they're going to try and disengage.
Now, when it comes down to N8 East players that know how to fight, Peterbot is one of the few that represent by doing the work, not the talking. He is one of our most leading elimination leaders on the NA East region in general. So for Revsguard to make the rotate out is an excellent decision there, but he is met with Pamsu and Fatch firing directly inside. But we jump on over to Cammy and Seti. The story continues here. They need a tag. They need more than that. Kanata opens the box. They look to fire back. Nothing comes out of it. And now they say, hey, we got to get to these boxes. Maybe it's more important. Maybe
Kamiがダウンした。
fight, but Cammy falls to Bad Sniper, and it's up to Seti to do it all. Can he get pretty much a full elim worth of damage here? Oh, no!
I didn't mean to curse him. Luckily for him, no more. He instantly goes down. I was going to talk about the launch pads, the push game to shove, but now Joe and Z Andy found 2 more launch pads and so much room to work with as Malibuka and Mustache. 2 eliminations. No shield to work with. I'd say not much, but none at all to work with as Fast gets one on the swag as well. Malibuka and Mustache, they are in the most congested side of the map right now. They're going to need everything they got to try to stay alive, other than that launch pad. But with no shields on Mustache, that could be a risky play.
And what's crazy, remember, Cammy and Seti falling. They were in first place, 11-point lead over Trippard and Thomas. Third place of PA Jin and Kitos. We already talked about them just being completely devastated there. And here's the updated standing. Thomas, HD, and Trippard have a chance to catch up. Smite and Larson, Vino and Queasy as well. This is such a competitive FNCS Invitational. If we've ever seen one, especially after just 4 games, and now the 5th is unfolding before our eyes.
Top of the leaderboard, stacked like pancakes in a Waffle House right now. It's Thomas and Trippard, 2 eliminations at the edge of zone. And right now, there's so many teams on the outskirts. They can continue to peek and just put so much pressure on the lobby before they figure out what's next. The choices are definitely there. You see Acorn and Edgy, they're sitting clean. They found themselves a nice spot. Belusi and Hydro as well. Not too many teams on this side of the map.
実の相方をね、アメリカ東のパワーラン2位の人。名前わかんない俺は。
676 above the damage threshold. That allows you that flexibility, that allows you options to pick and choose. Do you want to go ahead and put pressure on another team? Do you want to rotate around the map? The choice is now theirs. But a team that might not have those same choices is Malibuka and Mustache. They're only 105 above. We talked about the lack of resources that they have. So they're going to have to figure out something here. And you know as well as I do, they're going to have to look for a siphon. They're going to have to look for a refresh. They're going to have to look for a team to catch off guard and really pounce on them.
Let's see if they can do just that. 87 damage. It's good, but it's not good enough. Potentially here, 6 players are the difference between this surge continuing to stay online and turning off. Here it is, 3 seconds before the reveal. They're going to take the fight against Alex and Bailey. Alex and Bailey are multi-FNCS champions of the OCE region. Mustache and Malibuka looking to step up to this huge challenge here. Gotta be careful though, this is what they love to do! And a great tag here. This is why Mustache and Malibuka are some of the best. The Chrome Shield comes down though, and that'll buy them some time.
And right now, Storm Surge ticking out a lot of these teams. If you get your shields cracked, they will hear it and they will go. As Malibuka or Mustache, they know the position that they're in. It's all or nothing because you can't make it too much farther with the resources that you have. Alex goes down. Or takes down Threat. Mustache and Malibuka, they're going to be the ones that get all the loot because of it. As Baka and Onwin trying to stay alive, they're trying to protect what's theirs.
And they do just that. They get a little bit for their efforts, not much, but they're alive, and they've done some damage. They've defended the territory, and everyone backs up. Let's take a wider look here. Fadil has to give up the high ground. Everyone's making a rotate. Thomas, HD, and Trippard still a launch pad in the bag as they get to half and half out. This is excellent. Such an excellent position to be in. Switches over to the hard material, and they fortify up
and branch out. What? And play here just to even play for territory to open up the domain right now.
Malibu Grim Mustache met their demise. Both King and Hellfire getting an elimination each, taking out one of EU's exciting teams is Queasy and Vino. Another exciting team coming in with all the momentum.
あ、ルーナーペーパーを生きてる。
EU Elite Cup, winning the NA East Elite Cup finals back to back in the same day. If that's not what you call preparation, I don't know what is.
And they're showing us why they're up at the top right now. And they are taking advantage. A northwest zone is excellent for a team like Vino and Queasy. They find Anas down low. That's going to be their fourth elim. Pink does not stand a chance if they decide to focus together, but it's more important for them to maintain the position right now. And this zone's going far. It's going to cut back towards Acorn and Edgy side. Scented and Cold have more of a dominant rotate here, and this is all shaping out to be a great game.
Look at that mountain. They got to go down the hill and then back up the hill. This is literally going to be a roller coaster ride of an end game. And if you don't have a launch pad, if you don't have chrome splashes, I wish you best of luck.
Well, we do know if you do, Cold and Scented go ahead and put the chrome splashes to the use here, to the test, and they jump right over that bush and into it. It's going to be a great spot. Meanwhile, everyone else takes to the high ground. Peppo finds an elim, and Yumi is going to fall there too. He is the victim of the loot that we are watching get sniped up by Larson and Smite here.
Peppo やったね、一人。
It's going to start at the drop spot of Grim Gables. They take out Mud and Looter and they keep things going. Repscar peaks at the right time. Finds the shots on the Cool. Another elimination going over. This could be a moment for him to remember for the rest of his days if he can continue to clutch up big like that as Joe and Z-Andy trying to be the first team on the day to win 2 victory royales.
And Smite and Larson are still in the game as well. Vino and Queasy have the high ground. Queasy manages to crank his way on up, and that is what you call a well-executed launch pad play there to keep them in the run here, but there's still more points that they have to close out. Here goes Smite. He's going to go for the pad play. Z-Andy and Joe get to the front side of zone now, and they rotate their way on out as well, and this is coming back off, way off the height. This is such a tough and just honestly difficult zone to play.
The Epic Games Fortnite roller coaster continues yet again. Down the mountain, up the mountain. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a loop-de-loop come through as Repguard's trying to catch one off guard, but it's he who gets caught off guard by Z-Andy.
And just like that, he is down and out. Trippin and Thomas HD, we get to get a little temperature check with them. They are on the mid-ground, right above Scented and Cold. Smite loses Larson on the rotate, and he is now left by himself. Just places away from 10th here. Can he hold on? Peppo does enough, but not enough to beat Vortexter. Here's Onward and They have made such an excellent use of surviving their drop spot. Joe finds Noah. Down he goes, and Joe's hurt. 20 HP. This is not looking good.
Quick moving, quick thinking, trying to get out, but he gets caught at the tail end as Queasy and Vino. Zone after zone after zone, no matter where this roller coaster went, they stayed on top. Baka loses onward, but he takes down Fast. Back up against the wall. He gets 2. Baka gets 2. 7 eliminations for the NA West
And he has shown you how good he is and why he deserves to be here, even when he is counted out. He is showing up, but hold up. Scented, Cold now, back in the mix here. They already have done one, but can they get another? But Grolls and Rifty are showing they finally have an end game, and they are making big do with it. There's a third elim, 30 points already earned in this round. Baka fights back, but Cold and Scented get to get all that sweet loot.
Yep, towards the low ground, along with Thomas HD and Tripram. This one is going to get messy for everybody that's stuck down low. But for Vino and Queasy, they have the elevation. They have a huge advantage. Plenty of mats to work with. That's a recipe for success. But it's up to Cold and Scented and a few other teams to try to take down the high ground team.
And don't forget, Trippert and Thomas, who had a 10-point lead, is still here as well. Thomas HD wants more, though. Down goes Grolls, and they are closing the gap. But he loses his teammate. He's going to fall. Top 3 now. Scented is still in the mix here, in the conversation, but no build. Big shot comes in from up top. And all of a sudden now, it is looking so dicey. Queasy is just waiting.
Waiting for that perfect opportunity. They have the high ground. They drop down low. The game is theirs after they take down Bevy. That is game number 5. Sealed up by Vino and Queasy.
And the biggest game we've seen so far in terms of elims, coupled with a victory royale. for V. Very nice yet to the ends. That they may. There's been other things at work here that you.
They are one of the fan favorites coming into this tournament to take it home. The first duo to reach more than double-digit elims. They had 11 total eliminations, and it's what you love to see.
You know what? It doesn't happen by accident either. These guys have definitely seen some progression throughout today. We saw it in the previous game. We saw them go down to Surge. It wasn't ideal for them. This time, though, we saw them rotate all the way up towards those rifts, towards the top left, the very northwest side of the map, and they were aggressive. They were looking for those eliminations. Instead of sitting on those blimps, on those balloons at their drop spot, they were looking to be aggressive for Surge, and it paid off. We saw them take high in that 50-50 zone. Of course, I think Queasy had about, I don't even know how many mats, he had about 1,000 materials going into that second moving as well, so he's looking great.
Absolutely. We also have Kelly, who is standing by to chat with some of our players. Kelly, over to you.
Joining me right now, I am with Thomas and Tripper, and the team that is currently in second place on our leaderboard right now. How are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling really good. We just need to keep on going, being consistent, and we'll make it.
Yeah, obviously consistency is the name of the game right now. You guys had a great game 5, but how do you make that into a VR?
I don't know, like, we played mid ground most of the game. I think we should either commit it to high ground or low ground to win the game, but we're just playing for consistency, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and obviously consistency is working for you guys. You are doing a great job on the leaderboard. Good luck in the game 6. Guys, let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Shout outs to Thomas HG and Tripper, and they are currently holding strong in second place. And if you look at that little dash, that means they've not gone anywhere, right? And I do want to highlight them for just a single moment. 2 games back, we watched Malabuka go on an absolute tear, but then Tripper said, "Nah, son, this is my lobby. Take a seat," and that's how they're still holding. Game left to.
They're looking more than good, Zeke. Queasy and his duo partner were in the first place spot, but second place, that's Thomas Tripper, and they are playing so well. Just looking at their highlights here, they're setting themselves up for the late game, and just now with the interview with Kelly, you saw they're still always thinking, right? What can change? What can we adapt to? How can we play better? How can we take home that trophy?
Yeah, and these are 2 very, very talented solo players. For those that don't know the region very well, of course, Trippin and Thomas. Those guys are incredible solo players. We've seen solo clutch after solo clutch from both of them in the Elite Cups, in the Cash Cups leading before that, and they are just a dynamic duo when things go well. Sometimes things can be a little bit difficult for them when they do get split up. You know, they have to rely on the other person. We've seen that a little bit throughout the Elite Cups this season, but they're bringing it all together.
NA, it's a lot, but it's also showing because even though they have the fewest FNC,
everyone currently is looking, right, to just 6 games tomorrow. Those last continue to kind of go top tight to.
E eu me sinto muito realizado de estar na Team Liquid.
Bora.
Days, what is it?
Para português ou espanhol? Okay. A verdade é uma experiência incrível. Eu não tinha faz dar o melhor.
To be back.
And let's head on back.
These mics from
stronger than their opponents that they're facing against, and it's all about doing it in the most effective.
Teams that I noticed they were fighting on the edge. They run into a few issues, right? Because they're, of course, their Storm Surge, call it that. And they're going to be reviewing important game for these teams, right? Especially 2. This is.
So I'm not sure. There's a lot of possibilities, but they
They were trying though, of course. They made a really, really solid rotation up towards that Rifts area. They had just the best position on the map. And as you mentioned, Takata, they were a little bit split, right? They didn't quite execute it to perfection. Of course, Queasy and Veno, they decided, you know what, let's just take them out. We'll take this position. And ultimately, that's what won them the game. But it's just a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit dropping potentially with this duo. We saw it early on. The aggression was what made them so impressive. So that set them apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were really, we admired it, right? We admire their confidence in fighting. Maybe now they're thinking, actually, maybe we need to tone it down a little bit, when in fact, keep it up, you know, keep up that aggression, because if you're toning it down, you're not getting the Storm Surge tanks, you're not getting the damage that you need to make it to endgame.
They're doing, they're
what up?
待って今俺めっちゃ飛ばしちゃったけどさ
they're not you're doing
you're not getting the damage. We admire their impressive. So that set them apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were on the. But it's just. And that's ultimately what these teams are hopefully going to be doing tonight.
That's right. A lot of these duels, man. Look at them. Look at the focus. They're waving to the camera, which we love and appreciate.
but they are lasered in. They're thinking to themselves, they understand, right? With one game left, okay, what are the things we need to do to accomplish? What do we need to just kind of say, look, this is it. We left our mark, and we can walk away happy. I think for me, Jago and Mara, I'm like, this team that we saw pop off, they've kind of gone a little bit radio silent. What do we think's happening here?
I mean, we've seen them. They've been having a bit of trouble doing enough damage or even staying close together. I've seen 2 times now. One of them, Miriam was left alone, and the other is Zagu was left alone, having their duo partner get eliminated. So I'm not sure if it's because they're not playing together enough, if rotates have changed from their opponents and it's cutting them off while they're trying to get to zone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities, but they really have to focus on seeing what went wrong after those initial matches and see what they can change going into day 2.
They were trying though, of course. They made a really, really solid rotation up towards that Rifts area. They had just the best position on the map. And as you mentioned, Takata, they were a little bit split, right? They didn't quite execute it to perfection. Of course, Queasy and Veno, they decided, you know what, let's just take them out. We'll take this position, and ultimately that's what won them the game. But it's just a little bit of confidence, maybe a little bit dropping potentially with this duo. We saw it early on. The aggression was what made them so impressive. So that set them apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were really, we admired it, right? We admired their...
待って、もしかしてなんだけどさ、これルナペポ
apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were really was what made them so impressive. So that set them apart from the rest of the teams here, and that were really, we admired it, right? We admired their confidence in fighting. Maybe now they're thinking, actually, maybe we need to tone it down a little bit, when in fact, keep it up, you know, keep up that aggression, because if you're toning it down, you're not getting the Storm Surge tanks, you're not getting the damage that you need to make it to endgame. Guys, I want to see more of their aggression.
Yeah, and honestly, they're kind of reminding me of a Queasy and a Vino, right? Like, they're doing what Queasy and Vino are doing. You watch on the high ground, you're like, okay, Queasy's up there. If there's one person up there, they're tarping, they're not doing anything, and then suddenly there's someone knocking on your wall like, hi, it's me, Vino. I'm just going to pick up both of you. Thanks. Like, they are capable of this, so I'm not ready to count them out. I think, like you're saying, there's maybe just a couple things they need to shore up, and then they're going to get right back to it.
真ん中リアンだったのか。で、右がメイシーか。そうだ、メイシーだ。メイシーが確か
solo clutch in a late game, but directly after got taken off out of the spawn, right? Baka and On1 eliminated both players there, but I kind of saw the flames in his eyes, right? Mr. Savage was getting ready. He was feeling good, and I'm hoping that he can come out on top in one of these next early games and show what he's really made of.
Yeah, he's got that experience, right, of in-person events, and you can sort of see it in the swagger, the way he plays. Like, you know what? I've been here before. I mean, look at Quick Flex, cool. Yeah, I want to be like him. I don't know what it is. He's just so cool, and it's reflecting his gameplay as well. He is really taking the games to Storm. He is really popping off in the endgame. He's performing, and he's not showing any signs of nerves. He's really just 2v1ing. We're seeing 2v1s. We're seeing some crazy clutches, and that's what you need. At this level, you need to have those individual pop-offs, because without it, you can't make your way to the top of the level.
And on screen right now, we've got Reet and Epic Whale. In case you didn't know, Epic Whale, a 6-time FNCS champion, paired up with Reet, who's on controller, representing the controller gang. This duo has actually been pretty quiet, right? Over in NA West, we've seen, it's a much slower game overall, and a slower meta. And now, when we're trying to get way more aggressive, it feels like Reet and Epic Whale maybe need to kick it up too, slow.
I mean, I'm wondering what's happening, because I was watching this duo practice, right? In the player lounge, they were prepping themselves, getting ready for this tournament. And in the scrims, right, in the practice matches, they were 3, 4, even 5 elims in the mid game before the late game even started. They were playing aggressive, and they were doing it right against the opponents they're competing against today. So I'm wondering what happened, but we'll have to see if they adapt for day 2.
That's right. Really quickly hanging out in the player lounge, we've got Adam Savage standing by.
You have indeed here, Zeke, but I am joined by the one and only Cease, everybody! Cease, we've talked so much about you in the past. You know, it's great to see you here at the competition. How has it been for you? Enjoyed this?
Amazing. I'm feeling to
right behind.
Listen.
A competition like
such a great time to in one area. It's awesome.
It's people I think I've ever thankful that he could be here. I want to set the stage here for us. Don't try to freak out. Your Brazilian team in 10th place. PH in. Kitos right now sitting on a tiebreaker for Texters and Bevies.
Look, I want to talk about this duo, Bejatin Kitos. They have 25 FNCS finals appearances. PH Zin alone has 4 FNCS championships, and Kitos with 1 for a total of 5 together. This is a duo that dominates their region, and seeing them in top 10 internationally on the stage, it's really something you love to see.
Yeah, they're no slouches as well. I've been doing a little bit of auditing, having a little look at how they play, and oh boy, are they often do is they rotate towards the really making the most of them. It shows that
we saw him in 8th place.
Look, I think it's okay.
Need to make some noise because number 6 of the FNCS. Here we go. Game number 6 is just
already seeing continues to improve.
Listen, Fortnite is at its best when we get to see everyone go head to head from all of us.
And honestly, if you didn't necessarily have the best, and if you were at the bottom half, and a lot of these teams, they can finish
players as we start to load on
this time around. And a good chance for
これがラストマッチか。
Cloudy Condos. 5 games we didn't see too much. Or 4 games we didn't see too much, but in that 5th game, that's when we saw a lot of activity. And it helped a team like Balabuka and Mustache, who wasn't necessarily in the fight. They got the surge and they got out right away.
That's right. Well, listen up as things start to get ready here and we settle in. Looks like we're going to have to gear up this battle bus one more good time, and it wouldn't be a fun event if we didn't just give you a little bit more airtime about some of our favorite players while we were at it. So give us a moment here. Take a look at the focus of our players. Jacob, we have ourselves still one more game left today.
Yeah, and just take note, that victory royale there from Queasy
One more gameってことはもう一回
8
か。
straight finals with a VR. That is impressive. That means Queasy and VRs go together in finals like peanut butter and jelly, spaghetti and meatballs. They are a duo, so you better watch out, Vino.
Not only that, Vino was talking about how NA East hasn't shown up. I was looking at that top 10. I saw 3 NA East teams on that top 10 leaderboard. But not only that, they are 3 contested NA East teams showing up. So there really has been some crazy performances and put-ups. But let's go and send on over to the analyst desk. Let's just continue to gear this thing. Thank you guys so much. Sorry about that. We're making sure all of our players are on that battle bus and ready to go. We cannot miss anyone on this pivotal game here in game number 6, the last one on the day. Now, if you're just tuning in, welcome. This is the FNCS Invitational. You've missed a lot, but hey, we're happy you're here now. And there's a lot to talk about. Starting with Queasy and Vino. These guys have been absolutely running the EU region as of late. And now, after winning that last game, 11 eliminations, they are sitting pretty in first place.
I mean, they were the first duo to break the double-digit elim record at this tournament, right? Previously being 8 eliminations, but now 11 for this duo. I mean, they're playing very well.
Who is this guy, right? We got 17 eliminations on after FNCS final. You can see it, 5,900 previous game. We're really putting on a show.
Queasy, you need me to go
this duo, but he has the
tripper in. If there is this guy picks
out of, I'm sure he'd not
behind the scenes. We spoke to him. We're like, I think it's great. So in the game, it enables them to get so many more surge tanks. Of course, you can overpeak. You don't have to worry about getting that 200 damage to the head because you can overpeak, and you can see it right now. They're getting the surge tanks early on. They're getting the mid-game rotations perfectly on point, and they're playing the mid-ground layers as well. They just bounce off each other so well.
And I'm curious to see what they're thinking about now, right? Being in that top 3 spot with just Queasy and Vino right above them, right? It's all about figuring out what they can do to overcome their opponents, right? The consistency they need tomorrow to get the trophy. What will they change? What can they do? Or maybe they'll just, you know, keep playing the same, hope they make less mistakes. And
to be the best. And if I'm not the best, I will continue to grind until I am. You pair him up with Tripperin, who's just mechanically insane. I mean, we've watched him shut down Malabuka, right? When he's in situations where he's by himself, he still finds points. He finds high placement. So it's cool to see these guys finally come together. They've been doing for like 3 seasons, 4 seasons since the beginning. I don't even know at this point.
I mean, that's another interesting fact to bring up, right? There's a lot of duos here that have been competing together. They're like brothers, right? They're like companions. And then we have other newly
to go. You can see it on there here with, and that's what. Oh, and guess what? I'm getting word. It is that Game 6 of the FNCS Invitational. Jacob, we get to close out day 1 soon.
And this is going to be a huge closeout event. 5 games, 5 different Victory Royale teams coming out on top, just going to show that it's honestly anyone's game at this point.
That's right, and we've seen so much new, how they want to strategize us. Once again, let's make some noise for our players as they take forward the battle bus.
And that time that you were talking about, for preparation has run out. Everybody now taking their position on the map. We've seen wonders over towards Chrome Jam Junction. We've seen so many fights go down towards Fort Jonesy as well. But honestly, interesting enough, neither of them involved these two teams going at it off spawn.
Not only that, the coast has two teams as well, so there's so much going on in this area, and we've seen it play out a few times now, round after round, but this is a first take at Clicks and Duke not necessarily being right. You know, honestly, last game vibes are here. It just makes sense. Everyone wants to take it slow and try to play this one out.
Yeah, that's respect to them too, because they know well for either one of you. That's kind of throwing away that game, so they want to split the loot and try to get more on their path to the center of the zone. But just like very many games before, we're gonna have a little bit of a northern zone.
You nuts stuff.
Yet again.
Can you believe Smite and Larson are in third place being contested at the Grim Gables? What a way to play some Fortnite today for them. It looked like it was all over when you viewed the paper and you crunched the numbers, but they have really turned all that lemon into lemonade.
Yeah, I believe they lost game number 1, but I think that was the game 1 jitters of an international stage.
That's
the
right.
first in-person Fortnite event in quite a long time. They shake those off, and they're rising to the occasion. NA East, best hope right now to close out day number 1 with a top spot. You can see Vico over towards Reality Tree. Lost Bride pretty early, and that was Retake and Novice who also land over here.
Hey, listen, I'm from the Bronx. I know all about being scrappy. Vico and Moran are clawing their way out of the mud here, officially breaking back into top 20 with those 2 elims right there. That's a big point swing for them. It's going to mean all the difference. What's wild about these 2-day formats is anything can happen right now. We have seen teams just in this bubble area range jump all the way back up. You have to stay consistent. Larson and Smite get defended off of their drop effectively. They're pushed out by Muzz and Looter. So that fight will continue. We jump on over to Savage and iDrop versus Bakken on one.
Not that 50-50 we saw before. This one's going to be a little bit prolonged, and I think that kind of sits a little bit better for iDrop and Mr. Savage, simply because iDrop knows this POI like the back of his hand. He knows exactly where to get the loot. He knows where a lot of the chests are. He knows every single thing, and he also knows any pathing in order to disengage in a lot of these fights, but it does look like the TSM duo, Epicwell, strikes first, taking down Scented.
That's a big elimination right there, as well as Scented and Cold, and one of the few NA East teams inside of that top 10, and for them to fall to the hands of Epic Whale just around the Tilted Towers is definitely not a part of the plan. Marine finds Falconer in the feed there, but Peterbot and Jamper looking to continue their battle here. We talked about these contested coastal battles, and now we get to see it unfold for the first time from the beginning.
Going up against Jace and Basil. So this is going to be an interesting one, because sooner or later you cannot continue to go down. The chest is down there, and that's where Basil's at, and he's actually just trying to get out. He's trying to escape. You already know that he lost his teammate, trying to do wonders as a solo and finish off the day strong, because that's the thing. FNCS NA East Chapter 3 Season 3. After day 1, Commandment and Avery were in 9th place. Day number 2, they had the comeback for the age to take the top spot, as Peterbot takes the elimination, but flies high through the sky, just a little too high. The shots are coming in. He's finally able to land on his 2 feet and try to stabilize.
That's what Peterbot is known for. On1 and Baka, though, fight back here. The last time they won their drop, they turned that into a monstrous endgame, and now they're clawing back in. Savage already down. iDrop.
Can they do it?
In the mix here. Actually, Savage is on the run right now.
Oh, he's going to be able to get out alive, but do On1 and Baka want to chase him. There's so many other teams in the mix as well, including Brazil's very own King and Ed, who where they're at in the leaderboard right now, they want to start getting aggressive. They want to take the game into their own hands.
Ed and King here, trying to do something big. We haven't quite seen them put up the numbers on show yet. You can see right there, King attempts to hit some shots, but does fall slightly short. And now options in front of him. Does he go for the duo below? But no, instead he's going to go and hunt down the solo. This is by far the better play, but the reboot is starting to come out from Mr. Savage. Will he get iDrop in time? King arrives just there to maybe play spoiler.
But again, this fight over towards Cloudy, it's those same two teams, while Malibuca and Mustache are always trying to find an angle so that way they can get the damage they need for Storm Surge and try to get out alive. And I think Ed even found Peppo somewhere, but no, they're actually chasing down Mr. Savage, and they're going to clean that one up. That is huge.
And King get their first 2 eliminations onto Mr. Savage and iDrop here in game number 6. Huge deal for him right there. And lucky for us, we are hot on the replay. Take a look there, out the sky. Ed wastes no time. He says, King, you might have missed some shots before, but I got your back.
That was a huge outside of the box play.
You're not
They
people
easily
singa.
pushed Mr. Savage, got the elimination, and got 2 points. Done. Over with. Easy. They allowed Mr. Savage to get the reboot off, got the elimination on iDrop, got the elimination onto Mr. Savage, and got 4 points instead of 2.
That's right. Way to play big there. And they need it.
Big brain
now,
play.
Back to Larson and Smite. They could have left this battle, but they've won so many times already. They decide, hey, let's stick around, let's fight Muzz and Looter. Ooh, a big 86 on Looter as he tries to go on up. Smite was waiting with the side angle there. Larson now has just enough time to get back with Smite. They're gonna be trading minis here. As you saw, Larson's inventory was definitely short. Here it is, that little exchange, the material count too.
And honestly, if you're Smite and Larson, though, winning every single one of these fights except for game number 1, you have no reason to leave. It's up to Muzz and Looter to try to change up their plan while you have a hot Larson and Smite on their heels. Zagu is going one-on-one with Hellfire. This is for a huge finish for Zagu because right now they've skidded just a little bit down low on the leaderboard, more than they would like.
And what's crazy about this is how the region plays. This is how Asia gets down. They will W key. They play aggressive, they play fast Fortnite. And although it has been a day of performance and end games for Zagu and Marine, this is where he does best. Put him in a one-on-one, put him in a head-to-head, and look at how quick he is able to capitalize. No, shots come in from the distance. It's not looking good. He's gonna have to pause down here. He does have some light heals, but that will kill all the momentum, unfortunately. It's Commandment and Avery with a dual angle here.
And you can see where are this strategy, landing over towards Rave Cave. They're trying to go to the slower side of zone. They're trying to go as far north as possible, but they're gonna go east first before they make that happen, trying to clean up a quick elimination, or what they think could be a quick one at that, but the shots continue to come in. Storm doing work as well. It's only a matter of time as Hellfire is gonna be able to clean that one up.
Hellfire slides in and down goes Japan's best there. Zagu and Mareem sent back to the lobby, back to the drawing board to rethink for day number 2.
しゃあない。うわ、別パーがうざすぎた。
Yeah, Hen was already down. Now they're just trying to find the second half of that duo. Joe and Z-Andy, one of 5 teams to get a VR on the day. But Vico somehow took down Avery. They were waiting. They were trying to hunt down the team, and it was them who ended up getting hunted. But Joe and Z-Andy, they don't want to let this team out of their sight. They have at least 1 elimination against players from 6 different regions. That's the most of any duo, and that goes to show how adaptable they truly are.
That is right. Vortex is a solo. As we touched on, Hen is out the lobby. You can see the look of focus on his face here. He recognizes, oh, big read there. He finds a medkit right in the nick of time. He should get it off with about 2 HP left. That's going to be a huge save for him. Meanwhile, Sensei and Cold now making their move. Like we said before, they have been somewhat contested, right? Their draw spot. Maybe not going head-to-head against Pars and Raze there, but possibly trading out some loot. You can see it kind of coming into effect here as the loadout's very much not quite where you want it to be.
And that's Acorn and Edgy sitting on top of the blimp, being that nuisance as Cold and Sensei. They have to rotate right back in the way they came from. See if we can make it happen. They're actually taking some elevation right now. This could be huge. Oh.
Very interesting for them to go up to high ground here. This is such a risk, right? But of course, we never really know. They want some of that loot. Look at that. They get to the vault. They steal some leftover loot. That's going to be a huge situation here. Meanwhile, Muzz and Looter. You get to see a replay here. Remember, this is up against Smite and Larson, and Muzz turns this around. 3rd place, Smite and Larson now effectively dropped.
Yeah, for them, though, you got to give them credit. 128 points on the day. They've done wonders. And now they get to sit back, relax, collect their thoughts, and plan for day number 2 while everybody else is kind of going through this minefield of Chaos, which is game number 6. And like I said, from game number 1, where you have 95 players alive when Storm Surge activated, the lobby is now feeling themselves out. They're feeling a little bit more comfortable to try to attack.
もうあんな細かいのマジで見えないんだけど。
Thomas sitting on top of the blimp, just trying to get the Storm Surge, so that way, when they do find another rotation, eventually, it's going to be their focus, where they don't have to go ahead and hunt the damage. They can go ahead and do exactly what they want, when they want.
Let's take a look at Yumi and Cool here on the move. Some of our greats from NA West right now, they have really represented today.
They did.
They have found their moments.
I'm proud.
They've caught their highlights.
Panda's probably proud of the crowd too.
Oh yeah.
Cold and Sentin now changing their rotation yet again. Don't want to go through Acorn and Edgy anymore. They got the heals that they wanted out of the vault, and now they're trying to find another way around. And for them, they need scraps. They are in shambles right now, and there's another team right in front of them. They spotted them out, and that would have been a great sneak attempt coming out from Sentin and Cold, but now they have to think of plan B.
It's crazy. Cole gets caught out by Thomas HD. Thomas HD, Mr. 6,000 damage coming into game 6 here and adding to the chart here. Joe FN's going to be the victim of a few shots there, but not enough for Sentin to claw out of this tough situation he is in. Now, mind you, NA's third place Larson and Smite are down. Cold and Sentin were in 5th coming into this, and it's looking very, very grim now.
Yep, the only other NA East team in there is going to be Acorn and Edgy, who came into this game in 8th place, but in the distance, Sentin sees Fabs and Snack. He sees Joe and Z-Andy trying to get his Storm Surge damage up while being in the storm without any heals, but luckily enough, his escape plan, you can already see it, it is going to be that launch pad.
He's playing a very dangerous game here. He's already been tagged for whites there. There it is, he doubles back now, protects himself as well. There's a med kit.
Okay.
He knew that.
Try to get Sentin's card, likely.
There it is. Okay, time to med off. He will have enough time. Will he play for the reboot is the true question. We'll find out soon. On the other side, Zeet and KBR are still alive right now. 39 above, they're looking pretty solid. Zeddy finds Jamper in the feed. Peterbot goes down too, so that's had to be an Eastern edge zone rotate that just did not go their way.
Yeah, and that south side of the zone right now is just going to become so congested. You're going to have to figure out another way to try to rotate around as Chicho's trying to find some damage. Barely gets above the damage threshold. Gets a knock on the Rapid in the distance as well. And you see some other shots coming through. They know that that player is under pressure. Now the lobby is now taking hands to try to take him out all together. Bevies is now joining the fray along with Vortexers as well. Andalix has his back up against the wall. He's trying to survive. And Alex and Bailey are also rotating in. It's going to be such a hard way for him to try to survive.
This is such a tough spot to be in right now as it's all going down. Our 10th plate PH Zen looks like he falls in the feed there too. It's looking extremely desperate now for Brazil right now in this last game. Here's Booga on the other side of Anas and Pink's wall. They're gonna heal up. Eyes on Mirror and Booga, but no, they want to get out of here. This is a little too dicey for them now. Lopad's gonna get them right to the safe zone. Pretty decent. It's a great spot to be in right now. They're okay on the surge, but they could use a refresher here. Plenty options up to be served as well. Hellfire looks like he found Avery. Hellfire was a solo in the zone way north as Commandment and Avery were pointing inwards. And look, Avery fully finished there. The surge possibly finishing the deal.
Yeah, that's not good. You can kind of see why they rotated out of Rave Cave, trying to third party some of those fights, but they ended up getting snuck on, which probably turned their entire story around as Booga and Miro trying to get in towards the zone. Focus of the lobby begins. Can Booga try to survive? 43 HP and a dream. Miro's there to try to alleviate some of the pressure, and it does look like it's going to stop.
That was tough. Very, very close right there. Usually when that happens, it's all over, but luckily the teams decided, nah, it's the last game. I can't burn all my resources if I cannot pick up the loot, so everyone slows down. For Taste and Chapix, they are very much comfortable right now. No pressure on them, but there's a lot of players in this vicinity here. Movement, little scarce.
And out of Macwood over there, Pars and Rays surviving as well. Cammy and Seti trying to take that top spot back. you heard the analysts, they're having great games, and then they're kind of having a little slip-ups here and there. But luckily for them, this is day number 1. As long as you keep it competitive, you'll be in the mix. And look at our top 4. Top 4 is all EU right now, Monster.
That is right. 21 points for Cammy and Seti to catch up to Vino and Queasy. But that top 3 is just European territory right now. Vino, Queasy, Thomas HD, Trippern, and of course Cammy and Seti all fighting for that top 3 currently. It's what you expect. We've seen a lot of our community folk really put those 3 up in the standings and wait for them not to let down the fans, right?
I think Malabuka Mustache might be low on Storm Surge. Yet again, being one of the 3 teams over towards Cloudy Condos. Nobody really going at it off of spawn, but a team that doesn't have much to worry about. You saw them high at the top of the blip, Acorn and Edgy, almost 500 above. They're just picking and choosing their battles, trying to figure out what the right play is going to be.
And it does make you wonder, although Malabuka and Mustache are contested, being below the surges means that, hey, that first game was a wake-up call. We can't just go battle. Aqua and crew will just come in third party. But look at this. Thatch finds Malabuka there. That's a huge one. And now we get to see Ed and FaZe King's perspective here. King from Argentina, Ed from Brazil. Right here, right now, 2 elims already potentially going head-to-head against On1 in Baka. The young duos from NA West. No, the peak, the punishment. Down goes Baka.
Is this going to be able to get it, though? Doesn't look like in the minimap that they're going over. So, yeah, you are correct. He is going to get a second chance at life as On1 has placed in the top 10 in every FNCS final he has played in. Trying to put NA West on his back along with Yumi and Cool, Fabs and Snacky. So many top competitors in this tournament still, and this is only day number 1.
Jonathan Vidil, 120 below, make it 60 now. They do need a little bit more damage. It's going to continue to fluctuate. Vigo finds Baka, down goes On1 as well. Vigo just cleans that up. Meanwhile, Kanata and Macwood, they started off so hot, and now all of a sudden they are in a world of trouble here, surrounded by some of Europe's most dangerous here on this south side of the zone. But hey, they have time, they have plenty to work with here. It shouldn't get too sketchy just yet. If they can keep a low profile for a while, they'll survive to the next moving zone or the half in, half out reveal. Here's a look at 3rd, 4th, 5th. 6th and 7th are down, 5th is down.
Hey, that's a blessing for some and a curse for others. For the teams from 8th and below, this is their chance to really close the gap in the final game.
That's all of NA East out in game 6.
That hurts just a little bit. Just a little bit, but still got Acorn and Edgy still alive. Catching one on to Joe. Janice is going to be left as a solo. As Video just get knocked in that moment. That's Taze and that's Chapix that are hot on the heels. But pressure is coming from all sides for a lot of these teams. And even Macwood and Kanata are trying to put some shots on to Tayson and Chapix. You see Janice trying to break through. He is that solo that we were looking at. Trying to survive. Video finally goes down. Janice still knocking on the door. Storm Surge taking him down, but Tayson gets the last laugh.
And in the end, it's going to mean 4 eliminations for Tayson and Chapix. They absolutely needed it. They were slipping so far behind, well outside that top 20 bubble. Way to make a hero's effort push in game 6 to set yourself up for a good day 2, but they still have a long road in front of them. They have to close out this round. The zone is going to pull far northeast. It's on a little piece of a zone, so if you have that mountaintop just right there, you're going to be in a sound and strong position for Edgy and Acorn. They'd be some of the last to jump on over. And we said we want to see Epic Whale and Reed. They're just above sitting down, so this might be their game. But first, Vino and Queasy have to show us why they're in the lead.
They don't really have to do anything here. Look at the loot right now. They're on the edge of zone. They have some high ground. All these players flying through the sky. Easy shots. You're just like serving it up on a silver platter for a team that has been playing this good. But only 7 damage below the threshold.
And let me tell you something, this is not bad for a team that lands north and then has this half in, half out pull north. It makes a big difference when you are already positioned there and this comes your way. Now they just have to worry about damage management and closing out this last game. But you can see Trippern and Thomas HD are there as well. They have that same story. They are very much close by. Here's our high ground kings, Reet and Epic Whale. The 6X, and of course, Reet, a multi-FNCS winner himself.
Going head-to-head against Refsguard right now. They're starting to crank up. Reed does not want to give it up, not just yet. He jumps down. This is what he does best, is take those fights. But no, plays a little smarter. He has to play for the end game.
And I saw Pink and Anas go down to Pars. He's finally starting to heat up. Tayson gets another one. Kanata as well. Refguard as a solo stole Hideaway from the TSM duo. That is absolutely insane right now. But you got to take note of where they actually landed, though. They still landed at a high enough layer so they can take it back at a moment's notice.
Just need to evaluate the situation. No need to burn material this early. Smart play. It's the best play. Vino, but a huge tag there. Shield crack there. That's going to go ahead and get him a little excited. But Acorn and Edgy now revealed themselves to his layer as well. He's not too happy about that one. You see him back up just a second there. Meanwhile, Refsguard on high ground by himself, just looking down here, enjoying the view. But 130 damage is what he needs. He gets 4 tags. That's great, but not enough. Here comes the big drop, and he hits it. Okay, he stays in the game.
Almost seeing his life flash before his eyes. Just a few centimeters in the wrong direction. He goes down. He goes out. But Queasy and Vino are trying to go up. They're trying to take the game by storm, and they get it, Monster. They got the high ground for now.
But it's not for free. They do have a duo on their heels. Who is it? It's Refsguard, who tried to fight for it, but he is not going to be successful this time around. High ground can get you one thing that we know for sure, and that's amazing placement if you can ride it out. When you're a solo like that, that was an excellent attempt. But now, back into the heat of things. Seti, Cammy, 2 Elims, another end game. And their biggest threat, Tripper and Thomas HG is alive. Acorn and Edgy, NA East's last hope potentially in this lobby, still in the run.
Saw threats go down to the bottom half of the map. That's Trulex and Chicho taken down. Kanata falls as well. Ed's gonna get one. Queasy Vino trying to go ahead and put themselves outward so they can continue that damage. Seats a solo, stuck in the outside of zone. 4 floppers to work with. The Siphon comes through onto Ed. This is an opportunity for him to pick out placement points while being outside of the zone.
Not only that, Clicks is still alive too, but here's Tayson. Tayson's gonna fall inside the storm now. It's up to Acorn and Edgy, making their way up the outskirts here. Look at the clean rotate here from Acorn. He is just exceptional, but we get to jump into Duke. 200 HP, now down to 72, make it less than that. It's not looking good. From 0 to hero, he's trying to claw his way into this. They find a player on the edge. No Elim there. Duke has to fight back, and down he goes, and it is all over. And once again, we might be seeing our first team who is setting up for a back-to-back.
Back-to-back, that is going to leave them with all the confidence in the world to end day 1 and go into day 2. They have 10 eliminations on the Fico from the low ground. He's trying to have a comeback for the ages to close out day number 1. Shots on the huge amount of damage. He drops down as well, but goes down altogether. Valiant effort by Fico.
It is a worst-case scenario for Thomas HD because his biggest threat is on high ground, but Reet is fighting back. Reet takes down Queasy on height. He is turning this around and trying to turn this into potentially a solo game. Meanwhile, Thomas finds Watts. Thomas still alive.
Yeah.
Reet falls there in the end. Look at Thomas holding the low ground. Chicho's right next to him. Trulix.
クイジーは死んでるベノか残りは。でも多分これ伸ばすだけでも全然良くない？おーサテー。しかも神セッティで残ってる。強い。
That is huge for them because they're not like a lot of these other teams who are consistently fighting to get to the top of the leaderboard. They play their play style through and through from the drop spot all the way to the end game. They're one of the few teams, time and time again, that has their own spot. They call it the Cammy split, and it works out every single season.
And now they get to take that victory lap to center stage where they will be greeted by Adam Savage for a quick update. And Adam, please tell me how they do it.
Right now, they're looking mighty fine. Give it up for Cammy and Seti! GG's, boys! out of 6 games, a FNCS Invitational. That must feel amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
It's really amazing. Talk us through, you saw there the solo game.
Relax and VOD review.
Tomorrow, a big day, 6 more games. Could Cami and Seti go all the way and win FNCS Invitational?
Of course.
Of course they go. Give it up for Cami and Seti! Your game 6 winners! Let's go back to Zeke and the gang. Jinquin.
I made this joke. Game 1 of the FNCS Invitational. Cami and Seti are living their life on repeat right now. They've done this dance before, right? This happened at DreamHack. They win game 1, they win game 6, they stay on top. For Cami and Seti, all of EU right now is thinking this is it. We are the best.
Look, EU is on top right now, but Cami and Seti, they're gonna have a stressful night. It ended on a high note, it started on a high note, but with the history of Cami and Seti, having 2 back-to-back good days is a curse that we haven't seen too often, so I'd be really happy to see them continue this momentum forward from this last match into day 2.
Yeah, and Seti said it himself, right? They're really, really adaptable. They're adapting very, very well, and that's what I like to see from this team. What I've noticed about the way that they play and the way that they sort of carry themselves, they don't get down after a bad game. You know, we saw, as they said, 2 bad games. Surge wasn't quite looking too good for them, but look at that. They come back. They make the changes that are required to bring them up in the leaderboard, and you can see it's working out.
Yeah, right now they're holding, right? They're not in that first 2 games to Royale. You can see it
quickly is now over. True. And maybe the adaptation that Cami and Seti had for the
now we Kelly take
team out of day 1. 4 game 6 was going on, but you had the most solo eliminations with 17 elims. I'm sure that is even more now. How do you do it?
I'm the best player in the world.
I love it. I love the confidence. But how do you know when to go for the elimination and when to, like, step back?
It's nice having a balance. It's good having a balance. We have chugs, so a lot of the time when we're playing high ground, I can drop back and look for kills, especially when I have the Ranger shotgun because of the range on it. And that's when you can at least get a lot more kills. And I used the Ranger shotgun really well the other game. I got a kill on the Asia team, Zagu, I think, and that led us to winning that game.
I mean, obviously, it's not just winning you the game, but it's also winning you the whole tournament right now. Queasy, after that VR in Game 5, to almost do it again in Game 6 as well. I mean, obviously, you're going into day 2 pretty confident.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the lobby is not that hard. I feel like we should have been way better than we are right now. We had, like, a hard choke in Game 4 and 5, I think. Or no,
wait, you got 4? The VR in Game 5.
3 and 4. But yeah, other than that, feeling confident going tomorrow.
I mean, obviously, you guys are doing something right. You're in first place right now. Good luck in day 2, and thank you for joining me here for an interview. And we're going to head back on to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And this is just, like I talked about this earlier on in the day. Vino is a player who is constantly evolving. I just want to kind of consider how this could have gone differently, right, for Cami and Seti. It was a 1v2 against Vino. And it's because Reet played spoiler and eliminated Queasy. In the same other universe I talked about, you know, this one earlier on in the show, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. In this other alternate universe, Queasy's still alive. And then we see a true 2v2 against Queasy and Vino versus Cami and Seti. The way these guys have been playing, I think it would have gone to Queasy and Vino.
Look, we could have seen the back-to-back victory royale from Vino and Queasy, right? They had it all lined up. But I'm also, happy to see what we saw, right? When Cami and Seti got the VR, it was the first VR from down in the ground, right? On the low ground. They managed to secure it. All the victory royales came from that high ground up above, so it was great to see a little change up. But that change up was because Queasy ended up going down and Vino was left in the 1v2.
Yeah, we saw it, right? We saw Queasy going down, but of course it opened the floodgates for the players down below to really just rack up eliminations, rack up the placements as well. And there was a few moments here I thought, well, you know what? We talk so highly of Vino, and you could tell by the interview, he's oozing with confidence. I could feel it from over here. He could clutch this, right? He could clutch this 1v2. Couldn't quite work out for him, though, although we've seen it do him so many times.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from Seti and Cami. They are phenomenal players, and they deserve that victory royale in that.
いやー、終わるか。というわけで、今日の分は終わります。明日、ね、2日目の世 界大会の配信したいと思います。まあ、ぜひ見に来てください。というわけで、お疲れ様でした。